right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Town of Kennebunkport Select Board meeting, August 13th. Calling the meeting to order at 5:30. We are going to enter into executive session per MRSA 405-6 for discussion on union contracts. Do I need a motion?
Yes.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. All right. Good evening, everyone. We are back out of executive session, and if you would all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, I will take a motion to approve the July 23rd, 2026 Select Board meeting.
So
minutes.
moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. All right, we're entering into the public forum, so this is an opportunity for anyone here that wants to address the board on any issues that are not on the agenda this evening. We don't have anyone online, right?
We have folks online. Let's see if any hands are raised. No hands are raised.
All right. Seeing none, let's move on. Okay, next item is item 6. We're going to consider the renewal of the following license. Let's start first with Boughton Hotel Corporation DBA Colony Hotel 140 Ocean Ave. The staff has reviewed this liquor license and made a recommendation for us to approve.
These
there any-
These are also special amusement licenses.
No, just,
Well, they are both.
oh, they're both special music. Oh, okay, so
Liquor
this
and
is liquor
special.
and special music.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a special amusement for Colony and liquor license. Staff still recommends to approve.
And
Is
this
there-
this is a renewal of the amusement license as well as the liquor license.
Yes.
So so you want to take them both together? You'd like to
No,
take them
we're going to
individually?
take them all individually.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve the Boughton Hotel Corp. doing business as Colony Hotels liquor license and special amusement license.
Yep.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve Ryan's Corner Irish Pub and Restaurant liquor and special amusement license.
Second.
And just to note, there were conditions put on it last year, and I just need clarification if there are any conditions this year.
I would suggest that the same conditions that applied last year will carry over into the current year unless there's any issue with that.
I would like, do we have a reading of the conditions? I have to admit, I have, before I've forgotten there were special, I know that there was and there is an agreement that was reached between the residents and the Ryans. I know that one of the chief proponents of that agreement has sent an email to the board saying that they are very pleased with the performance of Ryan's in terms of honoring that agreement. So I would present that just as point of evidence as we are assessing
Yeah,
these
so
conditions.
I thought I had put the conditions in the packet, but There were conditions about the number of nights a week they could have music in summer versus winter. There was also, here it is right here. Dinner music will play from 6 to 9 p.m. Music offered 5 nights per week in summer and 2 nights per week in winter. Music will only be played inside the establishment. There will be a good faith effort of communication between proprietors and neighbors. There will be no after wedding parties or karaoke. Last call will be at 10:30 p.m. Windows will remain closed during musical sessions. Special holidays for music include St. Patrick's Day, New Year's Eve, and 4th of July.
Have we received any requests to lift those? I don't know if the Ryans are here. If perhaps could you just come and let us know that if there's something that you would like lifted there?
Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Joe Ryan, Kennebunkport, Ryan's Corner House. No, we've been very happy with the way that the year has gone. Obviously, being in compliance with that and with all that, and trying to stay very friendly with our neighbours, and I think it has worked. It's been good. Maybe once or twice, you know, there might be 1 or 2 things here. Now that you brought me up here, the only thing that I would ask for is in the summertime. That's been July and August so far. It's tough. It's tough with the crowds, the different crowds. Our neighbours, our customers have been used to. I would like, if we could, because Tracy and I implemented this, it wasn't the board or it wasn't the neighbours, it was a good faith thing. If we could get Friday and Saturday nights to last call to 11. We're still out by 12. At the moment, we're home by 2.5 hours earlier than we were previously. And that's what we would like to ask for, even though it wasn't imposed by the board or by the state of Maine or whatever. But
My only concern is that it is a change in agreement without having an opportunity to hear from the neighbors before we made that change. Can we table this, or is that not possible to delay it?
no, you know what, John, I don't want to do that. Leave it alone. Leave it
So
alone.
I think what we could
All
do, Joe, is maybe next year, because I know you do have conversations with the neighbors and stuff, and if there are, to John's point, if there are things that you would like to change before the license
Put it
comes
on
in
there.
front of the
Yeah,
board.
that's fine.
Is
That's
to
fine.
put it in there and talk with the neighbors and then
Yeah.
jointly come in and say we're all good, and
Yeah.
then it's an easy one for us.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so
Thank you.
I'm going to move to approve the liquor and special amusement permit for Ryan's Corner Irish Pub and Restaurant on 2 Ocean Avenue in Kennebunkport with the conditions that have been attached to last year's license.
Second.
Second that.
Okay,
Any-
perfect. Thank you.
Thank
yep,
you, Joe.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. All right, and we have a liquor license only for Musette LLC on 2 Pier Road. Staff again has recommended approval of this license. Take a motion.
I will take a motion to approve the liquor license from Musette LLC at 2 Pier Road on Kennebunkport. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, item 7. So we are going to have a discussion of the commercial bus operation data that Hope and Evelyn have put together for our review.
So there was a memo in your packet. They have a few PowerPoint slides. If anybody wants a copy, there are copies up here on the table.
Hope, can I just ask a quick question while you're
Please.
getting ready? So it said the data is through early July, but this says it's through August. Is that correct?
There are two memos.
Oh,
We
In the
got
packet, I believe it was also included the previous memo that was
oh,
presented
okay, all right.
in early July.
So
with
this is data through August?
Yeah, so this
Yeah.
is the updated data.
Okay.
That was just for comparison.
Okay.
So hello, everyone. Hope Maury. Forgot I'm short. Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Hope Maury Wall, Communications and Events Specialist, and I have Evelyn Fleming with me, who's our administrative intern this summer. So we are just here to provide a kind of midpoint update on the bus reservation system, some of the data that we've gathered, and some of the kind of anecdotes we've heard from the visitor liaisons. So Evelyn is going to go through the kind of basic information, and then I'll do some deeper dives.
All right, so just a few things to start out with. To keep in mind, this data was collected on August 5th, so about a week ago. Unless otherwise noted, it's from the reservations that have been made since April 2nd, which is when the window opened and when buses first started reserving spots. And there was a change in the reservation window on July 1st, 2026, which does affect the data. All right, we'll just start out with some general findings. Through August 5th, there were scheduled around 3,500 passengers to arrive on around 87 buses. So that's arriving through August 5th. That does not include any buses that were arriving through October, which is when buses could book slots.
So I just want to add in. So there are more scheduled, but those are the ones that have come through and are confirmed visits.
So these are the people who arrived in town.
Yes.
And just so again that we're clear, we're talking about what is in the Kennebunkport reservation system.
Yes.
A lot of visitors have come through Kennebunk and may have taken buses. So this doesn't reflect what we think was in town, but rather reflecting what we have had through the cross-street drop-offs for Kennebunkport.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. This is only buses through the reservation system. And the passenger estimate is given when buses book. So it might not fully reflect what they're bringing, but it is an estimate they provide us. All right. So when it comes to the days of the week, we're not necessarily seeing higher volumes on weekends. As you can see, Sunday, Tuesday, Fridays have the highest number of bookings, and we're seeing lower bookings on Mondays and Saturdays. For the time of day, we are having peak drop-off time from around 11 to 1 p.m., peak pickup around 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So that 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. time slot is really when we're seeing the most buses come through. And when it comes to the length of visit, it's really the majority that are staying between 1 and 4 hours. We're not really seeing, we haven't seen any buses book saying that they're going to stay for less than an hour, and only a couple that say that they're going to stay for over 4 hours. Since the 60-day window was implemented, we've seen a lot of bookings made for 50 plus days out. This might be partially because we're getting into the busy season that people can book in September, late September and October. As you can see, so the bookings that were before July 1st are in that golden color, the yellow color, and then the bookings that were made after July 1st when the change went into effect are in that blue color. All right.
Okay. So we wanted to touch on a few things that had come up as we were talking about the system and what system we were going to use and everything with the overhaul and implementation. So some of the issues that had been some of the concerns that had been expressed were companies not being able to book the slots that they need. And thus far, we have not had anyone reach out and tell us that they have not been able to. We've been able to, there have been a few glitches where things went down or things like that, but we've been able to help everyone get in where they need with nothing major. A big concern we thought might be an issue was rogue buses just showing up without having reserved anything. Each of the visitor liaisons has only had to deal with one rogue bus. So thankfully, that has not been a problem. And then another issue that we were concerned about with the implementation of the cancellation policy was someone or a company booking a large number of slots and then canceling much closer, which might limit other companies who are trying to go in. So for all of these, as of yet, they have not been major issues. Like with anything, there have been some bumps in the road, but it's all been very manageable and hasn't been a major concern at all.
But I think important to say that these really are anticipated in September and October.
Yes.
This is the peak time when we're going to have the rogue buses, not now. So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we are going to
The
see.
jury is still out.
Yes, as of yet, as of August 5th when this was
Yes, exactly.
taken, but.
So I want to say something like Debbie Downer or something like that. That's what came through my mind.
I'll just
but-
get a little more.
Dash of reality, that's all.
Yeah. So we're gonna, when we were looking through all the data that we had collected, there were some additional things that we found, which might be interesting, kind of thinking about this whole situation in general. So one of them is that reservations are made, oh, I took out the number, I'm sorry, are primarily made by 5 companies. And this is consistent with what we found when we had the data analyzed in June. It was 4 at that point that were making up like 80, 90%. And now it's 5, they're making 90%. So the good thing about this is that they are the same company, so we're able to communicate with them and get to know them. And they've reached out and I've talked to them and helped them with different things over the time. So we're able to really facilitate better relationships with them because they are doing the most of it. We are seeing, we have more companies who have signed up just in general, but it is primarily these ones.
And the other 19, are they like literally one-offs or?
It's
are
less than 5 for
Okay,
each of them.
less than 5.
Yeah, less than
trips.
5 bookings
Okay.
for each of them.
And do we know what type they are?
Yeah.
Are they cruise line? Do we know what their genesis is?
Do you want to pull up the?
Oh, that's okay. If
Oh,
you're-
no,
that's
because
all
I
right.
can do the next slide and she can pull it up. And
Okay.
she's been my data whiz. So while she's pulling that up, so one thing that we've been kind of keeping an eye on is looking at the number of time slots that have 2 bookings, because each slot has 2 bookings. On Cross Street, Ocean Ave has the 1. And so as we move into the busier season and try to look at how we're managing things and, if a rogue bus comes and how can we adapt to these things, looking at the number of slots that are filled with 2 buses helps us kind of prepare for how crowded is it going to get, how are we going to, handle these things. And when we talked to the visitor liaisons, that was something they mentioned as well, is that looking at it, they can kind of get a better feel from these fully booked slots of what their day is going to look like. So right now there are 68 time slots. There were 68 time slots with 2 buses arriving. And as you can see, keep in mind, October, there were only like 3 or 4 days that were bookable at the point this data was taken. But it is definitely increasing, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that, which will just make the implementation of the smooth system all the more important.
So is September fully booked, or what % are we booked in September?
I mean, we have consistent booking. It's not really the first week in October and kind of that last week in September. We're really getting days where you will see the full schedule is completely booked with at least 1 bus at most time slots. 9 to 10 is a very, very slow time. And I would say 5 to 6 is slower as well. So I don't think
But if I'm
Don't quote me.
looking, I guess what my question comes from, if I'm looking between June and September and you've got 17,
Yep.
2 buses, and I know June is done, so it was, whatever was booked is
Mhm.
booked, but what I don't know is what the 19 means in September.
Right.
Are we 30% booked, or, and then that number is going to keep growing, or?
We are definitely going to see that number growing. There's still a
If
good,
we look at the numbers about when people are booking.
Right.
There are quite a few bookings that happen 9 days
9 days?
Right.
prior, so we
Yeah,
can
so
definitely see that.
that will jump, okay.
yeah.
And how many times have we have not used the overflow on Ocean Ave yet?
We have, for some specific situations.
Okay,
Sometimes it's just an early bus that, we haven't used it too frequently, but I know they have used it, or sometimes a extra bus just so it shows up.
Yep.
And we're gonna get into it next too, but, the showing up on time has been
You
a
problem?
learning curve,
okay.
we'll say. Did you find the?
Just from looking a little bit, it looks like a lot of the.
Evelyn,
Evelyn, you gotta go to the
talk
mic. Sorry.
From just taking a little like preliminary look, it looks like a lot of the buses that have booked only a couple of slots seem to be more local buses rather than cruise lines.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. So it's still a good number.
So, the other thing that came out of more from the anecdotal evidence we were finding and the conversations with the visitor liaisons was quite a few who are showing up before or after their time slots. And so we hadn't expected this to be something we needed to track, and so we didn't have a system set up to track it. I think probably once it started becoming an issue, the liaisons started putting in comments and things, and since then, we've added in an option so that they can mark, just for our kind of tracking purposes, if they are early or late, more or less than 30 minutes, because around that 30 minutes is pretty much if they're close to their booking window, or if it's, I mean, it's only been 4 total, that is more than 30 minutes out on either end from their booking window, or booking slot. So
The slots are 20 minutes though, aren't they? Or are they 30?
they are 20 minutes, so 30 minutes beyond.
30
So-
minutes beyond the 20.
So like if
So
they are,
they're beyond even the next time, so they're into the 2 time slots away.
They're
So-
a time and a half away, yeah.
Right.
if they are booked from, let's say they were booked from 12 to 12:20 and they show
I
up
got it.
at 12:40, I put that as less than 20 minutes,
So
or
is
less
it-
than 30
Why'd
minutes.
you choose 30 instead of 20, just out of curiosity?
Based on our conversations with the liaisons, because it was about how far apart they were. And in our comments too, we have been trying to track exactly when they're showing up, so we can get a more refined number. But this is data we've just started
So
really
is there-
looking at.
Is there any conversations? Is it a particular company, or is it just all over the place?
I mean, you know, we do have those 5 who are doing most of the bookings. So
Right.
we spoke with chief and deputy chief and our visitor liaisons. And first, we just want to kind of communicate with them and see if there's anything in particular that is making this occur and if there's anything that can be done. Because especially as we move into the very busy season coming up,
Right.
it's going to become more of an issue. Because right now, if someone's a little bit early or late, it doesn't throw too much chaos into the mix, but that's definitely going to be changing. And so our first attempt is just going to be communicating and trying to take it on that level, and then we'll come back if there's any further action that needs to be taken.
Are they keeping any data on, let's say you have a 11 o'clock booking,
Mhm.
you show up at 11 o'clock, but you really have till 11:20?
Mhm.
Are we keeping any data that's showing us how long it's taking them to load or unload the buses? So are we kind of, is the liaison checking, they left at 11:10?
They haven't been checking off when they left, but they have been kind of keeping track, and that's one of the things that we discussed. So it depends on the group and if they have mobility aids and stuff. Because if they do have mobility aids, obviously that takes longer. You have to get them physically out from under the bus and such. And for those ones, it was an estimate because they weren't timing, but probably about 10 to 15 minutes to load and closer to 15 to 20, or sorry, excuse me, opposite. 10 to 15 to unload and then 15 to 20 to
Well,
load. It's shorter if there are no mobility aids, but
Okay.
they are using that full time.
Good,
So the 20-minute slot seems reasonable
right now.
right now.
Yes.
right now, to say.
As of the data that we have gathered, it seems to be
Yeah.
enough to work.
Great.
Great.
And I just
Um,
want to let people know, we went, originally this was done as a 30-day window. We went to a
Mhm.
60-day window after conversations with the bus companies for better planning for them to be able to get the slots.
Mhm.
And we felt it would be better for the town to know further out in advance what the crunch periods were going to be. I would suggest that it might be a good idea to have another conversation with the liaisons, the police and some of the bus companies, maybe later this month or very beginning of September before the crunch comes in to
Yes.
find out what else is going on.
Yes. I've been talking to Deputy Chief about,
Yeah, and Chief Simeone's here. I don't know if he has anything to add or anybody has a question, but the police have been closely engaged in the process.
So up until now, as Hope had said, it's been easier to be flexible because, we don't have the appointments booked back to back. I do think as we get into September and October and these appointments are booked back to back, if, the buses aren't there on time or they're rolling in later in their time slot and pushing into other time slots, that's going to get a little bit more difficult to manage. It's going to be harder to be flexible. Because if we're truly going to manage that time, then it kind of takes the flexibility that we have now out of it because we just don't have, those voids in between the bookings.
I think another thing to note is as we enter the busy season and those bookings are back to back and there could be additional road buses or things, those visitor liaisons, remember there's only one on, is going to be a lot busier interacting with the buses and traffic. And so they probably will not have the time to note all the data that they are currently.
Yeah, I think this was a good learning curve for data. Are we doing a strategy? At one point, we talked about when we get into the heavy season, that if we know that we're in, like you have data now that says these are the times, and if those heavy times stick for the fall season also, that we would take the first bus and cross it over to Ocean Ave. So if we did get another bus, we actually, we have two buses coming in, one goes over to Ocean, one goes in, and then if a rogue one or somebody comes in early, they have that second spot on cross. Because I thought we talked about how we wanted to make sure we were optimizing Ocean Ave, and making sure that we were handling it. So I think this is really good data because it really is helpful to say, hey, these are our crunch, if it holds in the
Yeah.
fall, these are our crunch times and we should maybe try to mitigate it up front.
The other thing, I just had a thought, when the chamber used to put this out to the businesses, how many buses were coming into a day, it may not be a bad idea for the town through its text messaging system to residents as we go into this busy season to sort of put a notice out that says, we're gonna have a busy bus day, just so people know it's gonna be the whole general public knows it's gonna be a busy bus day. And they can plan accordingly.
Yeah, and we have allowed the chamber access into the data so they can track it in real time, just like we do. And they have the ability to send that information out to the businesses, but we can be aware from a traffic perspective.
But again, remember, this is just through our system.
Yeah. And the last thing I have on this one is, we had heard from the bus companies when we did the $50 rate, and we originally were gonna go do 100, and then we dropped it down because we got into do we know when their queue is for, when we have to tell them? Because I thought we wanted to go at least
think
up
we
to
do.
100.
I think we do.
But do we know what the queue, do we have to inform them now? Have we already
I think we
informed
could have
them?
that conversation with them when we have them in to see how
Oh,
it
when
is
are
going.
they?
I don't know, I just
I think we
propose that
need
we
to-
should have another conversation with them.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to do it as soon as possible. We can't do it too early.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
can get the bus companies.
Yeah, well, we can reach out to them and try and get, can I ask another question? Can I put someone else on the spot? Since you are, you don't have to. Yeah, you should have
Yeah.
laughed, but you didn't.
You had your chance.
You had your chance.
I'm just, as proprietors on Cross Street, how do you, you're gonna have to come up to the mic. I'm not trying, how do you feel it's going?
The buses are asking for music 7 days a
They
week.
get 7 days.
Yeah, and they want to stay open to 11. I got
Last call, sir. Let's get that correct. The buses on Cross Street have been great.
Okay,
Yeah, we all had our worries about how that was going to happen. They've become
good
in the off season. No, they become customers.
Okay,
Yeah, they haven't. You know, we had our issues about what was going to happen, but no, they're coming off the buses. They're coming in. They're having a bowl of soup. They're having a sandwich. Husband is having a beer while Mary goes shopping. It's
Okay.
working.
Yeah,
It's
perfect.
good.
I mean,
Yeah.
it would be, keep us posted.
Yeah.
Because you guys really are.
No,
eyes
no,
on
no
this.
issues whatsoever. I
But
mean,
if you see some, you should let us know. right
Yeah.
away, too.
we'll do. Yeah, but right now, I mean, for the few buses or whatever buses we've had, actually, a lot more than I thought. No, it's
Okay.
good.
Perfect,
All right,
thank
It's
you.
good.
Anything else from the board? Hope, chief,
Oh,
we're good? Are you good?
we have a-
Oh, you have a, well, let me just make sure we're set. So are we all
Hope,
set?
Are you all
Hope?
set?
Are you all set?
I'm all set.
Okay.
Could I just ask a question? Susan Graham, I'm amazed at what you've been able to accomplish and all the information you're capturing. Is anyone keeping track of where the buses go to park after they drop off their passengers? And would that be a complicated bit of data to add into the data collection?
I think we've made the buses aware of where they can park. We know of some locations that they do go and park, and I think that's up to them unless there's an issue, unless the bus companies come back to us and say they have an issue. But otherwise, I think they're finding their way and they know what the town has already offered them. I don't want to overcomplicate our small staff of people. I think they're doing a great job, if that's
Cool.
okay.
And when we have them in, we could ask them.
Yeah. All right. Anything else from the board on this? Are we good? Thank you. Hope, thank you, Evelyn.
Maybe you could come back in September and keep us posted.
I'll be here.
All right, so our next topic is a discussion that Eric is going to give us information on our new designation as a MS4 town.
Isn't that a Yeah, you're welcome. MS4.
I think it is.
It's a Mexican gang.
It's
That's how
British,
I feel.
British intelligence.
Yeah.
It's MS.
That's MI5.
It's MI5. MI5, MS4.
Right there.
Eric, are you having a problem with that?
Okay, so thank you for having me. So I'm just going to try to give you a quick overview of what the MS4, what is involved in MS4 and the,
Yeah, get a little
The permit.
closer, Eric,
huh?
a little closer.
A little closer, sorry.
Yeah.
All right, so an MS4 is basically, M stands for municipal, S4 is separated storm sewer system. That's why the S4 is. Basically, it places a permit on the outfalls of separated stormwater systems. So on the 16th of July, we were told basically that we needed to file a notice of intent to enter into a permit with the Department of Environmental Protection. That is this is what brought us here to this point. So I'm gonna go through these. So why does EPA regulate stormwater discharges? The things I want to cover basically. So just key requirements as well as the next steps. So a storm sewer is basically this separated system. So some communities have what's called a combined system. It's called the CSO, where the sewers and the storm sewers are together. We are a separated system, so our system that is separated. So we have a permit for our sewers. We also will now have a permit for our stormwater in urbanized areas. So I want to be clear about that. Strictly stormwater. Basically what is happening when stormwater comes in off the street and enters into this system and discharges into some tributary river somewhere around or the ocean. So why do we have stormwater and why do we care about stormwater? Well, this, from my perspective, as you all know, I care pretty deeply about stormwater just because it destroys our infrastructure, roads specifically. When water gets in the road bases, we are going to have damage to the right there. You can see a road that's heaved because water is not able to get out from under the base, or potholes, so on and so forth. It's just hard on our infrastructure. So basically, we have different ways of conveying stormwater. Where basically we'll have ditches, we'll have also enclosed drainage, as you've probably seen me put in quite a bit of it over in like Wiles District Road and some of those areas, which formerly was a very rural environment where there were ditches and so on, but over time those were lost. The concern that we have is, what is getting into those storm drains? So anything running off the street, which could be oils and actually, quite frankly, leaves are also a nutrient. When they decompose, actually, they create a lot of nutrient, which is what they are, right? It's basically nature, basically feeding itself. So from that, there basically are going to be recommendations as to what we should be doing, and that's the crux of the program. So, so basically, the polluted stormwater runoff is one of the largest remaining sources of pollution into our national waters. Basically, it's an uncontrolled, so we don't have there is no treatment once it enters your system, for the most part. I say that, but Ben might tell you something differently, because when he does his subdivisions, he might have treatment and detention and things like that. But for the most part, most of our streets go directly to our rivers and streams and oceans. Just this flooding, I passed this. So municipal stormwater. So it's conveyance system, so on and so forth, as I talked about. It's basically, so we are concerned about what's entering into the system. We have to know where it's going. It's not a combined sewer system, as I mentioned before, and not part of our publicly owned treatment works, which is basically the wastewater treatment plant. So there is no treatment plant at the end of our stormwater system. So they provide us a permit every 5 years. So we're actually, in the current general permit that we have now is actually from the year 2022 to 2027, July 1. So if you can imagine, right now we're probably approximately 9 to 10 months away from the end of the 5-year permit, which is actually raises some questions. We're in touch with the DEP right now. We'll be meeting with them next week to ask them, how are you entering us into the 5th year of a permit, when everybody else has already been in this permit, but we're asked to be entering with 6 months to go. So which is it's a good question. So we'll see how that's going to be handled. We don't know the answers to that yet. There are a lot of MS4 communities out there. There are over 8,000 MS4 communities. Some of them were phase 1, which were actually populations of over between 100 and 250,000 population density. And now what they're doing now is phase 2, our 50,000 density is 50,000 and above of density. We are getting pulled in actually just along the ocean. We're getting pulled in by our southern partners and getting pulled into their MS4 community effectively. So
we're not being viewed as a separate town. We're just getting pulled in as a collective sweep.
right, it's not the whole town, it's only a portion of our town. And it's
Yeah,
effectively,
that's
it's gonna
why
be
when I
the
was
Dog Square and areas
Yeah,
like
so
that.
can you explain that to
I'm
us?
sorry, and you said it has to do with it doesn't have to do with Portland, it has to do with, you said our southern.
Yeah, it's actually our
neighbors?
southern partners.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
wells
that,
and so.
their density is what's impacting us?
The ocean, it's the oceanfront densities, right? So they're looking within a square mile, how many people are living within that area. And of course, the ocean, you can imagine, is a pretty densely populated area. And so we are getting pulled into those areas. I don't have the boundaries that they're going to tell us yet,
Oh,
but we know it's pretty much going to be along this area, Dock Square area, the more densely populated areas that we have. So that's what will be
So
regulated.
It's not the whole town.
Will not be the whole town.
We haven't received a map yet from them. They
That's right.
sent us a link which showed the whole town. But when I went to
Okay.
the link in the letter,
All right.
but Southern Maine Planning, we had a meeting with them on Monday with the other 3 towns that are getting pulled in with us. And their map showed just, North Street, Dock Square, Ocean Avenue down to Kennebunk River. So hopefully that's what
Yeah.
we'll see from DEP next week.
We'll get some clarity on that hopefully this week when we talk to Holiday at the DEP. So so what is involved in the program? It's basically 6 minimum measures. It's public education, public involvement, illicit discharge and detection and elimination, construction, stormwater runoff, and construction runoff, and good housekeeping. Impaired waters is is actually may have a slightly different permit. They may add some additional requirements to a permit if you're next to impaired waters. So that is the last component, but the top 6 are basically 6 minimum measures. So what is public education, public involvement? That is basically going out and having presentations, and you can see some stenciling there, teaching people as to what is pollution. Don't put your dog waste down the catch basins, things like that. Public involvement is getting them involved in stenciling programs, things like that, cleaning, picking up trash, doing different things to help with that. But that's a program that we would be leading as a town or with our partners, so like Southern Maine Planning. Illicit discharge is different. We will have to go out and actually check. Well, first thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to go out and map our stormwater system, which is not a terrible thing. I like to know where the assets are. It's always good to know. If a truck rolls over in a neighborhood or a street, I need to know where it's discharging to, and so that I can take the appropriate steps to get there and put out booms or do what we need to do to basically pick up the pollution that's there. We'll also have to be inspecting at least once a year for outfall for any kind of illicit discharges. So that's kind of part of it. So there's monitoring. It talks about SSOs, but that's usually a more serious issue, which SSOs are basically sanitary sewer flows, but that shouldn't happen without something really, really bad going wrong, losing a pump station, main break or something of the like. We also are required to track the success of these programs, which is be interesting how we're going to quantify that as to how many people are actually changing their behavior as part of this. So that will be an interesting, I'm not sure how to do the metrics around that to see how
Yeah.
successful with the program. That's a hard one. So, but we want to come on that construction runoff. So when there's construction, you would probably see a lot of erosion control that's set up around those sites to try to stop that sedimentation from running off. We'll have to make sure that all that is in place. That's really going to land in our codes area or planning area where we're doing inspections on those construction sites to make sure that they're protecting any kind of runoff off their sites. The post-construction is a little bit different. As you see post-construction, then it could be private or public infrastructure that is out there that on a yearly basis will need to be inspected and documented on a yearly basis. On the private property, it is typically, in my experience, has been done by the property owner and reported to our planning department or somebody that's to be recorded. And often there's also a 5-year requirement where we would have to verify that they are doing their work. So we will also, as a town, will have to check on these sites in perpetuity. Good housekeeping, that is something, a lot of the stuff that we are doing now. This is stormwater pollution prevention plan, the SWIP, basically we're sweeping now, but we'll have to be cleaning out our catch basins, probably have our catch basins every other year, things like that, and just landscaping, making sure we don't have erosion in our sites. It's just, and also educating employees as to what they're out in the field, what do they see? If they see something that's not right, that's us making sure that we're doing our job with our infrastructure and our assets. So compliance with impaired waters, not an issue for us, I don't believe at this time. So tracking, that's just, we have to provide a report. And that's a quick overview. That was that.
Sounds like a lot of paperwork.
How much money is this going to cost, if any?
That's a good question.
Additional funds?
Without seeing the permit on a yearly basis, it's certainly going to be some operating costs associated with this. We are going to have to do work that, we're not necessarily cleaning out catch basin every year and so on and so forth at the frequency that they're asking us to do. We are sweeping, doing roadside mowing. We're doing, we take care of our streets. Planning is going to also have some burden as part of this also because of the administrative burden of making sure that every subdivision, every detention pond is doing its job. So I can't tell you exactly how much it's going to cost us. I think we will have to develop that as to whether, how much the staff can handle or how much additional staff or outside staff to be able to conduct these inspections and such.
For instance, are we going to need consultants to come in and draft documents and processes and maps and policy, mapping, monitoring, all that is,
Yeah.
it's not free.
The stormwater plan probably will need some consultants. So the first year is usually the most expensive year, in the 5-year permit. And after that, it's how much can the community carry within their own staff. So I've heard ranges anywhere between, $50,000 to $100,000 in the first year to get the permit going. And that's developing a stormwater plan and such.
And
So-
we're working with Southern Maine Planning and Development with the 3 towns. or the-
We are, so Southern Maine actually has hired a consultant. Well, Christie unfortunately is retiring this fall, but they were going to hire another consultant to basically help the towns. And basically what Christie was doing is saying, how much of an effort do you need from me? And how much do you folks want to do? And some of the towns varied between 50 to 30,000, depending what their
They really
needs
have an à la carte menu. So if
Yeah.
you need help with public education this year, these are some things they can do. If you need help mapping,
Yeah.
those are some things they can do.
Right.
What I anticipate it will cost us in the tens of thousands and not the hundreds of thousands. But it really depends on what the DEP says is permissible in terms of our effort. So the first application we were told will, because keep in mind, we have to do an application this year for our first 5-year permit that is expiring. Then we also have to do a permit for the next 5 years. So how much those two will change? I think they estimated to start off, our first notice of intent might be, 10 to 12 pages, but renewal permits will be in the 140 page. So you can see that the effort gets higher.
Is there any way that they might, so I'm sorry, just so I understand, so we are in the last year of our 5-year permit
That we were just
don't
told.
that
have
we
a-
were just told about,
We don't even have a
that we
permit
don't have a
yet.
permit, but
So-
we're supposed to have a permit.
They're entering us into the second half of the 5th year.
So is there any way they could, when you meet with them, we could say, look, we'll just start with the
We're
next 5 years and
Yeah.
we'll go from there. We're not going to spend money and time and effort.
That
doing
would
something
seem
for less.
logical. That would seem logical.
therefore-
But this
the
is government.
So the answer is no.
Yeah,
Well-
exactly.
Well,
We're
the cons-
government too.
The consultants have said they've
we're logical.
not seen anybody else brought in so late in the game. Because we have no way of catching up for the 5 years,
No,
but
it's
by
crazy.
now, all the mapping would have been done, everything else. There's nothing we can do in 6 months. That what would typically have been expected for the 5-year permit.
Right.
And
And
maybe,
are the other, sorry, Joe, are the other towns in the same boat as us or?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
And what are the other towns?
it's
Uh,
Kennebunk, Wells, and Agunquit.
here locally. Yeah.
I mean, those are the ones that got pulled in with us in York
yeah,
County.
Yeah.
Okay.
final question for me. So you talked about monitoring illicit discharge, right? And I did see some quick thing about septic tanks leak. So are you going to have to go on private property owners' properties and inspect for illicit discharge into the ocean or the stormwater system? How does that work?
Usually what we would be doing, we're looking at end of pipe, so we're gonna go to the end of pipe. And if we see something that's not looking correct, if I see a sheen on that water or something over the lake is going on, I'm gonna chase that back upstream and say, all right, what's going on? So that's really the objective. So we're usually end of pipe, inspect the end of pipe, move your way back upstream, go find it.
So Eric is talking a lot from the Public Works perspective, but planning and Ben will be very involved in terms of, there will be ordinance development and zoning changes related to this as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
All
All
thank you.
right. So when is your meeting with the DEP?
I believe it's Monday, isn't
Monday?
it?
Yeah,
17.
Monday, 11 o'clock.
And that's with all the towns.
No,
Oh,
just
that's with
us,
us,
Okay.
just us.
with the permit, the person that's writing the permit.
Okay.
Good luck.
Good luck.
All right, thank
Keep
you.
us posted.
Will do.
Try and get us a.
We're leaving it in your
Great.
hands, Eric. Give us a break. All right. That was a good discussion. Thank you. Item 9, review the draft November warrant and ordinance language. So the packet we have the draft, so there's a couple things we want to do tonight. We want to review the language itself for all the ordinances, and we need to approve the language of the ordinance, and then we want to take a vote on
The warrant.
the warrant itself.
Right, the wording,
then
the warrant,
The
yeah.
warrant, so we'll do the vote on the warrants itself after we approve the
Last.
language, or we could do that last. And then when we meet in September, we will be doing the signing of the warrant. Okay?
Yep.
All right, so let's start with question 1. Oh, how do we want to do this? Let's see, our packet goes to mass gatherings. Do we want to start with that, or?
Well, question 1 is the amendments that the ZBA had asked for, basically taking the conditional uses from ZBA to the planning board. And you guys have reviewed that a few times, and my memory is that there were no questions on that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Correct.
So you want us to vote on the language?
Yes.
Okay, so I will take a recommendation, motion to vote on question 1's language of the ordinance.
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion?
No, I think we've discussed this.
Okay, all in favor? All right, so that's the language. You want us to vote on the warrant now too, or you want us to?
No.
It's up to you. You can do it either way.
All right, why don't we vote on the warrant since we got it all fresh in our line? So this is a vote on question 1 to recommend this amendment to the Kennebunkport land use regarding conditional use review for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, 5-0.
I thought so, we just did.
All right, question 2. This is the ordinance entitled November 26th Land Amendment to the Land Use Ordinance being enacted. This is the proposal amendment that splits the home occupation to home occupation type A, and then to type B. We've been through this a few times.
Yep.
This amendment also includes language regarding the stormwater standards, including the studies per the pre and post development and the impact to the control of the new development over square foots, clarification of the roads and driveways. So we've had discussions before we sort of broke this language out from one another. We've been discussing the first part of this, was the home occupation, and then we've been discussing the stormwater in a separate discussion. So I would maybe recommend to the board that we approve this language, but we strike out the stormwater part of this language for at this point.
So I just want to make sure. So question 2, as proposed here, includes, so I understand, it includes the home occupations types A and B, and we go into stormwater. So you're proposing that we just do home occupations A and B reviewed by the planning board, period. And everything else after that gets removed.
Yeah, so if we went into your packet, it would be section 240-6, 20, titled Stormwater.
And the logic being that we are going to be addressing the MS4, which will envelop this, be a superset of this.
Yeah, so that was part of our thought, that was part of the new information we just had with the MS4 discussion. We've been through this a lot with waiting for that readout from the state
Right.
of which way we were going to go from the DEP. Now we know that they're pulling us into the MS4. So we had said in previous meetings that if we got pulled into MS4, we would relook at our water runoff and our land use.
And my understanding is this is not going to restrict anything by not passing this. In fact, this new language was being more restrictive of what we have on the books right now. So by delaying it, we haven't damaged anyone or prevented anyone from doing what they were trying to do.
Right, so
Yeah,
we would.
there's a no pain to
Right,
it. Yeah.
it's a no pain for the residents. It's a, give Eric some time, give Ben some time, and let's see what MS4 really means. And for example, if they're putting a rope, a fence around some portion of our town and they're requiring us to do something else, we don't have that necessarily called out in the stuff
It's
that's
going to
we've
have
gone
to
through.
be. You have to-
So we might have to do something different. So
will.
the proposal on the table would be to move the land use, everything dealing with stormwater into a potential June ballot if we have enough time from what we hear from the
I'm
state.
good with that.
That's a good idea.
Okay, so I'll take a motion for that or for the language change, acceptance of that language change.
Did you have something neat there, Dave? You said
No,
there
I
was a
just want,
period.
can someone
Yeah.
just read what the language is gonna be?
The language in the whole ordinance or,
Well,
What would the
we're
new
doing
language?
question 2, aren't we?
yeah, so
So
question
what is
two,
question 2, the language of question 2 gonna be to the voters? That's
So-
what I want to.
So the language in question 2 will be an amendment to Article 4, and it'll amend the village residential and village residential east zones and require a home occupation type B to get a conditional use, but a permitted use will be animal husbandry and home occupation type A. The same in the Cape Porpoise East, West, and Cape Arundel zone. A permitted use will be a home occupation type A. A conditional use subject to site plan is home occupation type B. In Dock Square, Riverfront, Cape Porpoise Square, Free Enterprise Farm and Forest, permitted use will be home occupation type A and handcrafts. A conditional use requiring site plan will be child care center and home occupation type B. And in Goose Rock Zone, a permitted use will be home occupation type A, and a conditional use will be home occupation type B and child care center. And this came about as there was a lot of home occupations that were having to go to the planning board that were very simple. And so Galen had suggested splitting those out and clarifying that language. So some can be simply permitted and others have more neighborhood impact and should go through site plan.
So that's the full text, but as
Right.
far as
That
what
would
the
be-
question on the warrant would be,
The question of the warrant would be, shall an ordinance entitled land use ordinance be enacted? And then, I mean, the question itself, we'll talk about the section, but it doesn't detail the language as most referendum
no,
questions.
indeed.
right,
as
but
it's
the
written
one we
here-
have in front of us, so
Yes,
so
You need
exactly.
to
So the
strike
one
that
that,
last sentence.
yeah, you would
Right.
strike out everything
Right.
after planning board. So you would strike out the word, the amendment also includes, and those 3.5 lines would be
Exactly.
struck out from
Perfect.
the language.
So the end is planning board, period.
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 And that's what we're
Yes.
voting on right now.
That's what we're voting on.
Perfect, that's what I wanted to know.
So I'll take a motion to accept that language.
I would move that we accept the language as amended.
Second,
Any more discussion? All in favor? Okay, and then I'll take a motion for a recommendation of adoption of this article.
So
I
moved.
recommend we adopt.
Okay,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor? All right, 5-0. All right. You want to do another land use? All right, so the third one was, again, I think we're in the same bucket, right? So now that we have the MS4 discussion, I believe that we might want to table question 3. My opinion from what we just heard from Eric, we would table question 3, and this work again would be done for the potentially June ballot, because it enables the water runoff and the land use, and we'll have clarification in there from the MS4.
So we're just striking the whole.
We're not gonna have a question.
We
3
wouldn't,
as
we wouldn't have
question
this
3 as
question.
proposed in this package will not exist.
Right,
Right.
Right.
and it would be headed towards June.
Do we need to even vote on that?
Do we need a vote?
No.
Yeah,
Okay,
right, so.
I mean, if you make no recommendation, it doesn't go forward to
Exactly,
your
right,
warrant.
exactly.
Yeah.
okay, so that's a no, and we move it over to Eric and Ben's trusted hands. And then we're going to move on, I think.
So the new question 3,
it's question 4. Question
What's that?
4 is 3.
Question
question
4 would
three
become
will be-
question 3.
Yeah, for the purpose of handouts, what everybody has, we'll use 4, not to confuse
Okay,
anyone.
okay.
I can't keep track.
Yes, Ms. Graham?
Oh, no.
Thank you. Moving right along.
Okay.
Susan Graham. And are you on question 4?
Not yet.
Not
Nope.
yet, we're
What are we
going there
talking
now.
about?
Not yet?
No.
Then I'll wait
Okay.
until you move to question 5.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we're moving to question 4, but I'm going to have a discussion with the board first. So I want to take us back because we haven't had a discussion since the July meeting. For anyone that wants, that's here, there's copies of the special events, the proposed language up in front, and the board, you all have your copies. Okay, so I just want to spend a few minutes going through some of the things, because at the last meeting, Lori and I took the action to take some of the discussions that we've had over the several past board meetings and take those and sit down and discuss with our attorney on the intent of the board and where the board was heading, and to help us craft some language to achieve that with our legal representation and their representation or their ideas of how we could achieve that. Okay, so we haven't touched at this point the purpose of the proposal or the special events. But I want to remind everybody, as we go into the definition section, we've had a lot of discussions around commercial mass gathering and non-commercial gatherings. There are a few things that we've talked about. Commercial and non-commercial, the intent of this language, when we get to the June ballot, we're hoping to go after this section of the language. But we're not tackling that now, but we are noting that whether we call something a commercial or a non-commercial, that's really not relevant to the purpose of this ordinance. The purpose of this ordinance is when somebody has a mass gathering that causes costs to the town, for example, where you're going to close down streets and we have to move equipment and have our safety there, that cost is what we're looking for to be reimbursed by these gatherings. So I'm saying that because I really don't want to have the discussion about commercial, non-commercial, because it's irrelevant if we're really basing our thoughts on that premise. And we will come back to it in the June. Okay.
So just to clarify, you don't want to deal with this discussion really has to deal with what we're going to put before the voters in November of this year, in
Correct.
3 months. So we're not going to deal with the definitions, commercial, mass gathering, or non-commercial, only because we're going to deal with that in June of next year's ballot. We're just trying to get to something
Yes,
to
and
put before the voters for this November specifically to,
right, and we're
To get
also
funding too.
right, and we're
Christmas
also
present, yeah.
noting that that the board is aware that the definitions of commercial and non-commercial are not really the intent of how we're charging out. We're charging out when a function trips the wire for a mass gathering and causes costs of services to the town. And that's what we're looking for reimbursement on. And before, we've had all these discussions about commercial, non-commercial. And to that point, I'll just make one more comment. If you just humor me and go, Lori, what section is that where it's the one line non-charge?
It is under B2. It's on the second page.
Okay, and then this isn't red, so. So under B2, thank you. Under B2, we have added a line to that point. So we will be asking this language to be approved. So it says, non-commercial gatherings will also be charged for any necessary municipal service at the rate of pay regulated by the union contracts. So that is an additional thing to cover that whole discussion about commercial, non-commercial. So if you're commercial or if you're a non-commercial, you are still going to be charged at the rate of our municipal services. Okay. All right, so that covers that part of it. And now we go into permitting charges required, changes required. So this is where we added a special events category. So we stripped out in special events, we stripped out in this category. Remember, we did have this special events in the title before. So we have Memorial Day observations, we have 4th of July fireworks and road race. And per our discussion at our last meeting, we got away from talking about 1 weekend, 2 weekends, and the board gave direction about covering specific items. So this gives the freedom of the timing of these items, if you want to say it that way. So it would be the annual Dock Square tree lighting, the Cape Porpoise tree lighting, and one parade, all conducted during the winter prelude. Section B of that says the charges for the special events, the town may provide police, fire, public works, traffic control, parking management, and other municipal services necessary to support these special events. So this is the cost of these municipal services are necessary to support. And we have written in the language down there that has public safety with the wage adjustments. So in item 1, subsection item 1, we have now added the 17.5 in there. So we have defined the events that we will be supporting as those 3 items and special events. And then also we have put a dollar amount of 17,500 in 2026, and the future years will not exceed such higher annual equivalent amounts, but shall be increased by the annual public safety wage adjustment rate. So that is at the last board meeting, we had discussions about members wanting guardrails, and how could we achieve that? We had some discussion about going back to the specific language that was on the non-committed ballot. And so this is where this came in as an attempt to satisfy those needs that we were hearing from the board, and also to provide a means that's not adjusted by CPI, but a means that's an actual cost that we are incurring. So it's tethered to the safety wage adjustment. So this will mean that when we do our union negotiations, that wage increase will be then able to be calculated out. So we will have the support hours and then the cost per hour, and it will be very transparent in terms of what those costs are being charged out to these events.
Good.
Okay, so really from our intent would be to, when we open this up for the board's input, our intent is to close on language tonight, final language, and then take the article vote if we can get there. Because since we've put the 17.5 in, we have to have a budget board meeting prior to the September next board meeting to get their approval on it also. So again, this language, as we talked before, this will go through the normal budgeting process. as it will be a line item in our budget process.
Okay.
So that's where we went. We spent significant time with our attorney. I think we got some good guidance, feedback. I think we listened to the residents and specifically to the board members and different points of views. And so I'm hoping that we captured with this intent a good compromise across the board and across the residents. Our goal here has been to get something, as we said, we would do the non-binding ballot. We would learn from that, and then we would put something on the November ballot that we thought would give whatever the desire was. And then now that we know, we'll be able to go and have this on the ballot and give clarity to KBA and people planning prelude of what the town will support, because they're operating right now under the guise of the current ordinance where there is no support. So now, having said all that, that's the background of what Lori and I have been up to with our town attorney. Can I hear, before we open it for any public discussion, I'd like to hear from the board.
Well, I'm glad that you decided to put the 17,500 in. I think that was something that needed to be done, only because
You gotta get closer to Mike Allen.
I think that was something that needed to be done, because I think that if you hadn't put that in, it would have been confusing to the vote. Thank you.
I think we've done a good job of capturing the sentiment that was expressed during the poll that was taken through the ballot. And I look forward to having this hopefully passed by the community and get resolution to the funding.
The one thing I would like to add to this language is what we did hear from folks was that this was important for them, that there was something that we acknowledged, that this was a community event. And in reading the language, the ordinance as it currently stands, I am going to propose that under the purpose that we add community to that. So the town of Kennebunkport recognizes the desirability of, this is how it currently reads. The town of Kennebunkport recognizes the desirability of certain outdoor events and mass gatherings, and hereby ordains the following to protect the general welfare and promote public health, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to propose that be also changed to say the town of Kennebunkport recognizes the desirability of certain outdoor community events and mass gatherings. Because I think that these events that are mentioned in this ordinance, Memorial Day, July 4th, Prelude and all that, they are community events, whether they're commercial, non-commercial, not. They are community events. And I think it's important, for whatever reason, for the event holders to have the word community in there to show that the community is behind this. So that's where I'm going to propose that we include the word community.
I would second that. I think that's an excellent suggestion.
I would suggest you just remove outdoor.
What'd you say, Joe?
I would suggest then, if we're gonna,
Okay.
fly spec language, we just remove outdoor events and we just say events.
So how would you have it read?
I would say the desirability of certain events and mass gatherings. And
Well, the outdoor is not the question. The question was the word community. You could say certain community events and mass gatherings.
well, to me, community events is the issue. Because I don't know what that means. It's mass gathering ordinance. There's definitions in the ordinance. So to throw in, is it a community with a capital C or a small c? I mean, is it a defined term, community event, or is it just community in the general sense of people coming together? I don't understand that.
I think I think that the purpose of this is special events and mass gatherings. Special events would indicate to me that and we're dealing with community-based events here. So I don't have I think that including the word community, we can get rid of outdoor, we can leave outdoor. I think including the word community events, community means community in general. It is an event that is hosted for the purposes of inviting people in to participate in the community's event, in the community's life, in the community's culture.
And the whole community's
And
invited.
the whole community is invited. It's not a private event that you
Right.
have to be, it
Right.
is a open to the, one and all can come. And so
Right.
therefore it is the community of Kennebunkport. And this ordinance is to deal with
And with a special.
trying
yeah.
to deal with gatherings of open events.
The special event piece of it deals with that, and that's indeed what all three of these are open to the public events.
Well,
Memorial
then-
Day, 4th of July, and the Dock Square lighting, et cetera.
I think that's a great point. So why don't we change the language to special events? That's a great point, John. That will track perfectly with the language that's further on in the statute. I agree wholeheartedly, special events.
Well, why are they not special community events?
Because the word community doesn't appear in this document.
Yet the
Well, it
community
will-
is
it will- it
invited
will
to
my
them, it's
proposal.
obvious. As opposed to a private event. It's a public event.
Well, then let's say public event. I'm fine with that too. Even if special public event, if that makes you feel better.
So one thing is, so I will jump in here just for a second. When we have the special events, we had special events and mass gatherings as the title. And so when we have the special events section, I'd like to keep that clean as special events. I don't want to go into the redefinition of the special events. If we're talking about just in the purpose section, this discussion can happen, but I want to ring fence it into the purpose section of this document.
Yeah, and I suggest John had talked about special event. I'm happy in the purpose to say special events. Special public events. Special events to which the public is invited. Special events to which members of the community are invited. I'm happy with that language.
All right, well, that's my proposal. When we're adopting it right at the second, we'll hear what the public has to say.
Okay, before we go, is on everything else we talked about. Are you guys, Joe, so everything else I heard from Alan, Joe, are you okay with everything else
Yeah,
that we went through?
I'm perfectly happy with this document.
Okay. All right, Mr. Graham. So let me just state one thing, that we've had many discussions. So if we are taking comments, I would like them to be comments that are things relevant to the discussions that we have on target here versus, because the board's already taken all the previous discussions into account.
Completely understand. I am respectful of the process. I'm amazed that it's been crafted this way. I support it. But I had two comments just about community event. I mean, you're bringing another concept in here that isn't defined. Should we assume this has been seen by the town attorney and approved by her? So, bring in something new like this at the last minute. You're going to have to scramble around probably. But beyond that, I won't get into your discussion on the section about charges for special events. I'm in full agreement with your 17,500. But I do wonder why we're putting in the kind of a rider for the annual public safety wage adjustment. And by the way, I'm very happy that you've resolved that too. This was an issue 4 or 5 months ago. But wouldn't it really be more clear to just leave it at the number, 17,500? It's going to have to be up to the event organizer to find the additional money they might need to pay for.
So this
the
is the
event.
charges that the town will give. So this is the charge rate. This is defining the charge rate for the town.
That's fine, but I don't know why you're
The
going.
reason why I would suggest we're not doing that is what we heard from the poll that was taken during the ballot is that the majority of the people wanted to pay some thing, some
Yes.
contribution.
Yes.
And what we interpreted as we looked at the data is that one weekend, half of it would be a reasonable thing to pay.
Okay.
So in the future,
Yeah.
and we have calculated that half of it in 26 is the 17.5. And the only thing, because it is labor only that we're putting for the safety thing, the only thing that would raise that in the future
Is the
would be
cost.
raises in that labor rate. And therefore, we would be following the town's request to pay for half of it. If we didn't do that, we would fall below that half level
That
in
isn't
future years.
explained. I'm glad to know that, but I don't see that explanation
Well, I don't think
anywhere
we
in-
need to
in the
explain
ordinance.
everything. To me, that's pretty obvious why it's there. So I think it's obvious enough why it's there.
Okay.
Well, the
Yeah.
17.5, so the 17.5 was actually on the ballot, right?
For this year.
Yes.
For this year.
That's the
And
amount.
so-
And all we're
and
saying for
so-
future years, we're still trying to cover the half.
Right, and
So-
so Susan, I think when we, if you go back to the discussion, and this is what, when Lori and I were discussing with the town attorney, we took feedback from the board in July 9th meeting. And that guardrails, the 17.5, there's a lot discussion from this board. There was, some very strong opinions that we wanted, that people voted, there was a 17.5 number on there. I think just made their thing that people will relate to this number now,
Yeah.
versus what are we really trying to get them to pay? So we're hoping, again, we looked at the data to John's point, and we're hoping to grab the majority of the voters. We want this
agree,
to
But
succeed.
and the language says that you shall pay the increase based on the wages.
Right.
It's not an option.
Right.
But in the minds of voters, this is a number that cannot be defined 10 years in the future or 5 years in the future. It sounds like it's going to be 17.5 plus whatever it could be
In future years,
20,000 one year, it could be 24,000.
as inflation occurs.
I just thought I would throw it out to you because it will possibly create in the minds of the voters a feeling of uncertainty about what amount in the future. But we're
But we
going
go
to vote on
through
it every year.
The
So
other thing that's in this, and then when we have the public hearings for this, part of the explanation will be, also in here is that it goes through the budget process, right?
Okay.
So the 17.5 as written, that's why we have to have we have to have a budget board vote before we sign the warrant to make sure that we have budget board alignment with the 17.5. But what this does is everything goes through the budget process. So it's full transparency during the March budget season of what this number will be.
yes.
So there is no hiding numbers from anyone in the town.
No,
you
no,
know,
I'm
and
not
when people,
suggesting that.
no, but you're asking for how would they know? They'll know by the direction of this is a 17.5 base, and then it will only grow by the rate of these salary increases. That is the only lever that this is going to grow by. So that's
get it.
as good. And if we put CPI in there, then I would grant you that no one would know, Adam from Eve at that point. But I think with the guidance from legal guidance, we've got it to a point where I think we are giving the voters full transparencies and they can sort of figure it out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, broke
broke
it.
it,
Rob.
Rob.
Yeah, you bought
Gotta
it.
buy it.
You have to pay for it.
Well, we're getting a new system anyway because this one works so well.
It's in the taxes somewhere. Rob Wengel from Goose Rocks Beach. First of all, thanks for all the efforts to try to thread the needle and accomplish so much. On that last point, I want to remind everyone that 63% of the voters in June voted for 17,500 or more. In fact, since the number one selection was 35,000, so including some regular salary increase in the out years feels reasonable based on the 63% voted for 17.5 or more. And I believe the thought was we don't want to revisit this every year. This is supposed to last, so locking into one flat number, I think this works.
and I support it, the way it's worded now. The one thing that I do want to question, I know that you asked that we not look at the definition section. You said it's irrelevant.
Well, I said that for,
You said it wasn't relevant to the discussion.
yeah.
However, the decision was made to remove July 4th fireworks from commercial gathering and Memorial Day from non-commercial. So there was a change made here. If I recall the discussion last time, which did become, I think, a pretty collaborative conversation, the KBA was saying it was very important for other sources of support that Winter Prelude be removed from the commercial gathering, just as you've removed July 4th from commercial gathering. So just as you chose to remove two things, I would encourage us to remove Winter Prelude from commercial gathering. I am not a lawyer, but given that there's now an entire section on special events, I would think special events needs to be in the definition section.
No, because, so here, I can help you on that one, because I know there was some questions. And I didn't mean no, like to stop you
Yeah,
dead.
yeah, I
I'm
hear
sorry.
you, I hear you.
That was rude of me. But, so the special events pulls out those parts of Prelude, right? So it pulls out those three things that will actually be defined and how it will be funded by the 17.5. The rest of Prelude, we have, constantly said we don't own the rest of Prelude. So we don't want to define Prelude in special events, the whole of Prelude. We only want to define the items that we are suggesting to our residents that says, here's the special events, here's our things that the town wants to support, our residents wants to support, and those three things of Winter Prelude are in that section. That's the reason why all of Prelude is, the Winter Prelude still stays up there in commercial. Hopefully in June, commercial, non-commercial will go away, but Winter Prelude, the rest of it is still a commercial event by that definition.
Rob, you can't see it any other way when you read the definition in terms of what Winter Prelude is and what that definition reads. How can we say that it's not? Now, we are taking pieces of it and we want to put that as a special event. I like community special event, doesn't matter, still discussion to be had, but those pieces, yes. But we can't in good faith say to take Prelude out of a commercial event.
Well, I think you could, so I'll
Yeah,
respectfully disagree.
Yeah, fair.
So I'll respectfully disagree because first of all, commercial focuses on profit, for-profit events. The KBA, which is the applicant, is a not-for-profit. So
Is it not sponsored by local businesses or other groups with the intention of generating profits and for the purpose of attracting tourists and others to Kennebunkport for commercial reasons, such as promoting tourism or increasing the sales of goods or services in the town and its environs? That is a definition, which is wonderful. That's a definition in my mind of Prelude. I mean, how can it not be?
Yeah, so I think to the point, so you're not going to win this point because we've been around the bush on this one and there's a full board commitment, I believe that, and we will come back because like I said, the commercial and non-commercial is not the decision branch that we're making this decision on charging. It is special events are being held in a bucket that we're not going to be charging for, and all other events will fall under, that other charge rate. Go ahead.
So first of all, you've spoken and said, I'm not going to win this. I'm not trying to win this. I'm trying to be fair. There are two things. One, it says by way of illustration. So it's an illustration. So just as you've chosen to pull July 4th fireworks out, it's only an illustration. If pulling that language out helps the KBA, as most of you seem to acknowledge in the last meeting, I'd encourage you to do it. And the second thing is, I would argue that July 4th generates tourism, generates commerce. Memorial Day parade generates tourism, generates commerce.
But both are paid for by the town, not by business.
Understood, but
there is an element of what public funds can appropriately be spent for.
Right.
And so you do have to have a nexus of support for a community or the town. And the fact that a 501 organization, which I'm not sure if the KBA is a 501c3 or a 501c whatever. I think, there's a lot of nonprofit organizations that are not charities.
Right.
Um,
Understood. I didn't say it was a charity. I just.
well,
it's not
okay,
for-profit.
okay, so now we're, fully, on the mind meld here. But, so, just calling something, if a duck is a duck, and if you call it a cat, it's still a duck. That's why I don't understand why we're talking about using a term we're trying to create some defined term of community event that is nowhere in the statute. And also, even if we put that term and said, yeah, this is a community event, we think it's a community event, you're never going to get away from John's point. It's a commercial gathering. It has to be, unless the money is being sent to a 501c3 or it's being donated to the town, it's a commercial event. And I think it's disingenuous to sit here. You're not disingenuous. The point is intellectually disingenuous to sit here and say, this isn't a commercial event. It's run by businesses to make money for businesses and to attract customers for businesses to the town. The town makes very little money on the Prelude. As a matter of fact, Rob, the town costs it costs us and the taxpayers $17,500. So that's not.
No one's argued. that the
Yeah,
town's
but
trying
so
to make
how
money.
is that not a commercial enterprise?
So the only thing I'll say is the argument that the town's only supporting these three specific events. The entire event is public and community, which I know is not well defined here. However, you have all the provisions that say we're only paying this percentage, recognizing that the event organizer will pay all the other elements.
And that's
So-
because we put it to a vote.
Right.
And there was a
Which- there's no
plurality
argument
of
about that.
votes, right, with the three buckets, which we can go around with three buckets. But this is where we came up. The reason we
Understood.
put
And I
that
agree
money
with
is
that.
because that's where, we came out. That 17,005 was a fair interpretation of the non-binding referendum.
I've not challenged that at all. I'm just challenging why July 4th came out, but Prelude didn't out of that language.
Because
That's it.
July 4th is done completely by the town and is not for profit. The town doesn't make money. We don't sell tickets. We don't make money off of July 4th or Memorial Day. That's why, I think, in my opinion. I don't know about the other board
why.
members.
No, it's a
Can I
fair
just-
thing.
But just to try, we are going to readdress the definition section, correct? It's not for November, but it's going to be a continuing conversation that goes in potentially for a vote in June. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yes. So to Rob's point, that I think what the board wants to do is, I want to get to a yes vote in November so that we can get some money, so we can provide money to Craven. If we can continue to have this conversation over the definition section down the road for a June vote, I think would be helpful. I think what Mary Beth is trying to say is if we try and do it right at the moment, you can see where it's going, and I don't know I don't want to get to November and not have a ballot question to put on the voters before the voters.
and I think in terms of, to go back again, one more statement to build on what David just said. To go back to the July 9th meeting, we are trying to honor the direction that we believe the majority of the town will agree to. And most importantly, to get and secure funding for 2026 and to lock and load on that, and then to move forward, because the rest of this ordinance, in today's world, doesn't make sense because of how we're charging out. And so we will go back to the definition section. And we are not taking, by doing this, trying to get to this November wording, we are not taking anything away. We are not changing something in terms of taking something away. We are moving down and creating more. We're adding to Prelude, right? We're adding to it. We're not changing it. We're not moving it off of different buckets. We took 3 things and moved it to a special event bucket where then we can then ask the residents to pay out on that. And I think that's what you're seeing the board trying to achieve. So is there any comments from the online at all? Anybody? No? Okay.
Yeah.
Man, you're tall. Tina Hewitt Gordon, president of KBA. First
Tina,
of all,
you may have to just, yeah.
up here. Okay, sorry. First of all, I want to thank everybody of the board for all the work that you have put in to this, as we have, and I appreciate all of your efforts. David, I appreciate your wanting to add community event into the purpose, because it really would send a very strong signal that the town supports these events that are listed in the special events section. With that said, and I will reiterate what Rob has just spoken about, Mary Beth, I realize that this is not about definitions, but leaving the word winter prelude in there is an issue for KBA. And Peter, to your point, KBA is, Joe, I'm sorry, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
I've been called a lot worse. Many times.
I'm sorry about that. Joe, to your point, when we look at, when I look at mass gatherings, you're looking at who the applicant is, and the KBA is a 501c6. So we are a not-for-profit. The town applies, does the applications for 4th of July and Memorial Day. We don't directly benefit from any of the 4 events that we put mass gathering permits in for. We don't sell tickets. There's no charges for anything, and there's no money left at the end of it. So we're not making any money. Just as the town doesn't, you say they don't sell any tickets, but they make money off of. Now, do the businesses make money? Certainly. Does the town make money? Yes, it does. They charge for the parking lot. So. I don't want to get caught in the muck and the mire here, because to Mary Beth's point, we're not going to win this one. I think we can readdress this in June, but removing that winter prelude would really make a huge difference in the other funding sources that that event receives. So I would appreciate the consideration. I know this language isn't final. I know that you've got to still go back, and if you're going to finalize it this evening, there's still an opportunity to run it past the lawyers to see that if that can be amended.
So what language would you suggest, Tina?
Having the 2 words winter prelude removed from commercial gathering.
Because it really is just talking about, it says it includes, so it's making it an example, but it's also specified.
Correct. That. If those 2 words could be removed, I appreciate the language. Of course, we would have liked that to be worded differently, but we can all agree to disagree on that. But the way that the special events and winter prelude is defined here and naming the 17.5, I think that does go a long way. It obviously ensures that the event organizers receive some funding, and the residents can see the guardrails that they have in place, so that it's not going to be $100,000 or whatever the number is. So
I'd be okay with that.
I am okay with an edit. I would not be okay with an addition.
Well, this is a reduction.
I mean, an edit as in a strikeout.
Yeah, that's what she's requesting.
that's what I'm.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm just asking to have
I
the
think
winter
we'll-
prelude,
so
those
in
2
all
words
fairness-
removed.
So
And I realize that the definitions
So
are going to be
my
worked out for
job,
June.
my goal is to get this passed. So my goal is to get this passed and get a majority over the finish line. And I know that there are some people that if we start playing with the commercial, non-commercial, we will lose some votes. We will cause, and I'm just trying to
But Mary Beth, you already have changed it. You've struck 4th of July and you've struck Memorial Day. So you have manipulated the, or amended, that's manipulate's not the right word, but you've amended
But
the,
again, we've done that in the vein of taking those 3 events from Winter Prelude out that we're hoping the community will support. So they can acknowledge July 4th, they can acknowledge Memorial Day, and we're saying these 2 tree lightings and a parade falls into that special event trust. And, we hope you would support it, and here's the dollar amount that we want you to support. I think if we could go back and just put the word community in the purpose, I think for now, that would, if that's okay, and the board agrees to David's decision, and if that's enough, and then we can come back and do the commercial part for the
I
June.
don't know, I don't think so.
again,
what you
wanna do?
respectfully, I would ask that you strike Winter Prelude from that commercial gathering as an example of, and add in
I like that.
the word community.
But why?
Other than that, the business association is very, is okay with the wording for special events.
With the by way of illustration is also, the only other thought is to just remove the by way of illustration from both definitions of commercial and non-commercial. Just just remove the by way of illustrations.
I'm also fine with that.
These definitions aren't that important. As we're just saying, they're all going to change. So let's just get rid of the by way of illustration from both of the commercial and the non-commercial. What are they adding? Absolutely nothing but
Can I ask,
confusion.
John, are you saying to get rid of by way of illustration and without limitation of the terms commercial gathering includes and the entire sentence?
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, why?
It doesn't
Well,
add
it
anything.
doesn't add
It's-
anything.
It's an illustration.
Doesn't.
It's an example. It's
Well,
like,
that's-
for example.
Yeah, exactly. And said, so what? These are all going to change anyway. So let's just get rid of them now, and then we'll work further on getting stuff and.
And if you remove that language, I don't think that prohibits any of the legal rights of the town or the taxpayers' rights are abrogated by getting rid of by way of, or example, or,
Right.
Alan, what do you think?
I think, yeah, that sounds like a deal. I think it's all
I
right.
think it's going to get us, I
Yeah.
support it.
So if we get rid of those, that would solve.
That would solve a lot of, yes. I mean, I know you've taken, what Mary Beth had just said, that, there'd been discussion with a lot of the residents. We also have been a part of the discussion. So we appreciate the fact that you've listened to a lot of the input that we have. Thank you for that.
All right, so if we go to the top one, so I think I was just talking with Lori, and we got to revisit the bottom one. So let's just talk about we have to revisit we got to
Okay.
look at non-commercial.
Yeah.
So let's just go to commercial
Yeah.
first. So commercial, we strike out by way of illustration only and without limitation. The term commercial gathering includes, and then
Blah, 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 boom.
blah, 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 and that's all out.
Yep.
And Lori, can you foresee an issue with that?
I don't see an issue if we're coming back to it in June.
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
because we're intending, we're intending, our purpose for June is, the intention in June is to get rid of commercial altogether.
Right.
Right, okay. So now, I think Lori and I were just talking quickly, she was thinking about, do we have to strike out in non-commercial? Can we leave that as is? Because some of these things were put in for specific reasons.
I'm fine with leaving
If you
it.
don't mind the imbalance of having it one place and not the other, I'm fine with that
My
too.
concern is that it talks about political speeches, religious activities, and
Weddings
I know,
funerals and-
We
and
had-
I don't really know, but I know that some of this was also about when people were protesting when
Right.
Bush was here.
Yeah,
And so I would want to talk to Amy about that and
That's-
whether that
I'm
has a purpose.
Fine
I'm
with
fine
leaving
with
it
it.
in.
I'm fine
with
leaving it
leaving
in.
that
All
in.
Yep.
Strike the first paragraph, the
Okay.
last sentence of the first paragraph,
Okay.
and hopefully Peter did his duty tonight.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Peter.
Okay, so,
I have one question. or is there going to be an opportunity on the actual, the wording of the warrant to, because I just have one or two comments. Or do you want to wait until you get to that section?
Why don't you
Wait.
come back?
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
So can I ask a question, Peter? You said you would, you didn't want to do.
Don't
do
ask.
it. No, you don't want to do
No,
additions,
leave-
but you would
no.
do edits.
No,
Yeah, cross-outs.
Yeah.
I love crossing things
let's
out.
just leave it.
So I will withdraw.
Would you want to
Yeah.
cross some more out?
No, we're
No, I'll
good.
withdraw my
Okay,
commercial.
so
Right,
let me,
right.
let me see if we're here, all right? I'm testing, let's see if we're here. So we will take it as written in front of you with the amendment of crossing out, omitting the last, by way of illustration, that last sentence of the commercial gathering. Else, all the other changes stand as is.
Remain as written. I will
So
make a motion.
Okay,
Second it.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the document as edited by removing under 140-2 definitions under commercial gathering, the last sentence that starts with by way of illustration, ends with the word special events.
Second.
It
Any
ends with similar events, just.
Similar events.
Okay.
I had it crossed out. I couldn't read it. Go ahead.
any more discussions?
No.
Seeing none, I'll take a vote. All in favor? Thank you. Should there be confetti or music or something?
Yeah, I think they should.
Where's the band?
Anything? A drink?
It still has to pass in
Where did
November.
Ryan's go?
They're
right.
still open.
All right, so now let's go to
To the wording of the
question
warrant.
4 in our document, which will be question 3 in the future. The amendment of the special events and gathering ordinance. It says shall an ordinance entitled the November 26th amendment to the special events and mass gathering ordinance be enacted. And then the copy, and then the note explanation, this amendment allows the town to support municipal services for 4th of July, Memorial Day, and a portion of winter prelude. It also clarifies municipal services, cost recovery for mass gathering events. Board, any comments?
I'm good with it.
So this is just,
Good to hear.
Okay.
Tina, this is not the
Tina, this
one?
is, did you want?
Already? Okay.
Next question.
That's
Oh,
I-
funding.
question 5.
Oh,
I move that
okay.
we accept the wording of question 4 amendments to the special events and mass gathering ordinance.
Second.
Any more discussion? Favor? Thank you.
I move we accept question, I have to do both, right?
No, now we're going to go to 5. So question,
Okay. I thought we did 2 for each amendment, the wording
we
and
did
the
the
accept-
wording.
the first
We
one.
did the wording.
Isn't that wonderful? Good.
Yeah, that was good.
Good.
You raised your hand. We got you on tape.
I
agree
agree
with
with
John.
Well, did you? Sleeping at the wheel.
We did vote. We voted twice.
Yes, you did. I'm
Thank you.
watching.
Wow.
Yeah, okay, that's right.
All right, question 5, the funding for Prelude, as written is, shall the town appropriate 17,500 from the undesignated funds to be used to the fund municipal services related to 1 Dock Square tree lighting, 1 Cape of Porpoise tree lighting, and 1 parade during the winter prelude?
Tina.
Tina?
Two things. I think just for consistency's sake, it says funding for prelude. It should say for winter prelude, just in my opinion. That's up to you for wording. But if I look at all of the other questions.
It says
I'm
winter
sorry.
prelude.
It
It
does.
No, under where it says funding, it says question 5, funding for prelude.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
Add the
In the
word
title.
winter in the title,
Title.
Got it.
sorry, yes.
Oh.
In the, in all the other questions, there is a note of explanation that outlines why you got there. In this section, there's no note of explanation. And I think that to Susan's point, things could be taken out of context. And so if there could be a note of explanation that, and I couldn't even help to propose the words, but I think that there should be something in there to have context for what that number means. Rob, do you have a? Yeah, okay. That, I'm gonna defer to Rob because he's, may have a comment about this.
Yeah, so I think before, Rob, you speak, I think my answer to Tina would be, when I look at the other amendments, the note of explanation is actually,
It is not common to have a note of explanation for funding unless it's a bond issue, and then you have to have a financial note and explanation.
but if I look at the wording without the financial explanation, the wording here sort of mirrors the other notes of explanation, right? Because it is explaining that the 17.5, where it's coming from, and that it is related to the 1 Dock Square to the, so it is very similar in terms of context. Not that we can call it a note of explanation, but the context, I think, is there of what the 17.5 represents. Over to you, Rob.
I respectfully disagree that the context isn't, and we're all very, and I appreciate you've said probably a half dozen times today, we just want to make sure this passes. And given that, that's the purpose of what I'm going to propose. We're all very close to it. A handful of residents who come regularly are close to it. We don't know if the voters who are going to show up in November are the same voters who showed up in June. We don't know to what degree they pay attention in the way we do. So the parts of context I think could be confusing is one, if I'm not familiar with the whole past 4 months of discussion, is 17,500 new and incremental, and where this come from is not explained. So the things that I would encourage you, I don't have the exact language, I have some elements that I'd encourage you to think about. One is stating in a note explanation that this question reflects the outcome of the non-binding June 2026 ballot question in which 63% of the voters support funding of 17.5 or more. So if you can reflect back that because right now we're saying we had to pass a hurdle of June, and in this case, we have to have the hurdle of 2 questions, both the ordinance change and this change. What we don't want to have happen is whoever made a comment a few months ago about the town hall, we vote no for town hall, but yes for bird-friendly windows. My fear is that question 4 might pass, question 5 might not without further context. That this is connected to something the town has already, the voters have already supported.
So maybe you would say these funds are in support of the requirements established in the amendment to the special events and mass gatherings in the previous question or something of that sort. So just point it back to that question.
I like the referendum.
Yeah.
Well, point it back to the June referendum. I don't know if we could.
In compliance with the June referendum.
Yeah, I don't know if we could put in 63% of voters.
Yes.
That's kind of advocating.
I think that's a
But it's a
bridge.
note of explanation.
No, but
It's a fact.
right, it's a fact. I don't know if we could, but we could refer back to the June referendum
Yeah.
on this
That
question.
way there'd be
But-
Yeah, I think this is in response to the June
whatever date
Do we need words tonight?
referendum, yeah.
Laurie, do we need words?
Do we need the words tonight for an explanation, or could we come back with that?
You will be presented words.
Okay.
At our final vote, we'll be presented with new words. Okay.
And the only other point, which perhaps you can include, the point of context when you just see 17.5 alone is people don't have the context that that's less than 50% of what the town spent last year. So the town spent 39,000 last year. So people are just coming in fresh. Again, it
I
might,
don't disagree.
so I think that's a context.
I think part of the stuff too, I mean, for all ballots, right? That's why we have the public hearing,
Right.
right? Because then we rely on the public hearing to then state all the context around things, because we can't ever put for
Right,
any
I understand.
ballot.
But so few people see that public
Correct.
hearing. That's the problem.
But that's for all ballots, right?
Well, I
So
understand.
I think
understand.
we have to,
So can I suggest something? So as part of the newsletter that goes out before any of these elections, we always explain each question. And if you guys wanted to come up with some verbiage,
Okay.
we could work with our communications team. I'm not saying we'll take everything for the gospel, but that we can try to work in those elements that because then that gets mailed to everybody.
And, but I would, if you can still have a note of explanation that refers back to the June referendum.
Yeah.
I think that would have
it may
value
not,
to.
it may not say note of explanation. It may just be more words here.
Okay, well,
We'll work it out.
We'll work it.
right. And then one last, I don't know if the word undesignated funds is clear to everyone. So that's the other, whether it's in note of explanation or wording, my understanding is we're not asking for extra budget dollars. There's money in the budget that can be used. We're not asking the voters to approve incremental budget dollars. So I'm not sure everyone's gonna, there are people who might think they're being asked to vote for additional budget dollars that are not in the 26-27 budget.
Well,
So-
they're voting on the usage
Release of-
of the release of those funds. So I think
It's already in the budget though.
yeah, so
Well,
some,
They're not in the
There's
budget.
general
We
budget.
we have
No,
in
They're
the
not in the
overall budget.
budget. They're in our
But-
savings account.
Correct.
right. So I think we have to be careful about that because they did vote on the budget. So we are telling, they voted on the budget at the town hall meeting. And so we just have to be mindful of words. So I think we have,
Does the ballot question actually also say how the select board and the budget board?
Yes.
So the ballot question will have
select board
probably
and
a
budget board.
5-0 and whatever this budget board
You're
does.
assuming 5-0.
I'm assuming 5-0.
All right.
A lot more than 5.
Well, all right, thank you.
Good job.
You only get 3 bites at the apple, Susan.
Susan Graham, I'll make it brief, but I do feel like I'm in a chicken and this is the fox. But I think you ought to consider adding the words 2026 to the title.
That's good.
So that it's clear to the voters that for this ballot, this is a ballot
Question
question,
for
that's why
this
it's different. That you're asking them to take the give you permission to use undesignated
I think
funds
that's
for
I
this
think that's a
year.
good point.
Yeah.
Susan.
Yep,
So
that's
you're
good.
going to do that.
Yep, we're going to do that.
Okay.
Good job,
Okay.
Susan. Thank you.
Good. All right. Anybody online? Dave?
No hands raised.
All right. Okay. So Lori, how do you want us to do this?
a hand raised.
Oh, we have a hand raised.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Too late. Too late. Nah, never too late.
Jim Burke, or perhaps Kate Bowerberg, you can speak.
Hi, sorry, I was actually doing this as an experiment because I tried to get in several times, raised my hand several times during the you-know-what discussion, and I was told I wasn't showing up at all. So I was asking my husband just to run through this with me. It has nothing to do with what you're talking about now. That was just an experiment. Good night.
Okay.
night.
Thank you.
Why it
Thanks
did not
for
work
calling.
before, but I was
Glad it
told
worked.
several times before that I wasn't appearing there and I couldn't speak.
Great.
So,
Thank you, Kate. Thanks.
all
for
right.
calling. Good talking to you.
I'm here. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. So Lori, do we vote with this?
We
don't
just
have
need a vote
amendment.
of recommendation from the board.
Okay, so can I have a vote of recommendation to move forward with question 5?
I will make a motion to move forward with the question 5. regarding-
Second.
Any more discussion? Favor, everyone in favor. Thank you. 5-0.
5-0.
All right,
That was 7. That was 5.
next item.
Hawaii.
Now,
McGarrett.
everyone that's here, we've just locked the door, so you have to stay.
That's right.
Just saying.
Alan,
You have to leave it early.
what's up?
Hey, Alan.
Ah,
turned into a
no one
pumpkin.
listens. All right, Chief, we have some,
We got some cruises.
we've got some cruiser discussion, Chief.
No, I thought we had Ben.
Ben's first. Ben's first.
How is Ben?
How's Ben first? It says
How is
cruiser.
Ben
10,
first?
number 10.
I don't
Number-
have a
I
10.
don't have a 10.
I
Does that
don't,
mean we all get to go home?
I don't have a 10.
We don't have a 10, Laura.
Still have audio.
So we still have audio. We don't need
Oh,
video.
have
I
to go
look
to
the same.
this. I'm looking off of this.
Video went down.
Yeah, video went down.
Ah.
You have a face for radio. They
Okay.
found years ago.
Oh, Ben, this is so sad. I almost blew over you.
Look at-
Oh. Averill. Is it Averill as I wait? Is it Averill? Averill. Averill. Averill?
Oh, we have to
Oh, we gotta
confirm him?
confirm.
You gotta
on
come
up,
up,
Ben.
Ben. You gotta come up and
You need your, this is you have 10 minutes to give us your bio.
You let us,
Yeah, you're
all right, we have to wait for Mike to.
definitely
review.
going to have to
But we
lift.
asked you 3 questions. I don't know, did they
Yes,
tell
you-
you that?
We give you what if scenarios.
I'll take what if scenarios.
Okay.
You got to lift that mic, Ben. It's a whole, just do the whole, there you go.
Are you chasing people out?
He was.
No, I don't care. I'll send
No,
you a
we've
picture.
we've got audio. Let's just continue.
He was handing out his card.
Yeah.
Vote for me. He was handing out his card. Vote for me.
Well, is it being taped?
But it's
And
being
do
taped, we
have-
still have audio,
Yeah, we
correct?
have audio.
We have to wait because it's being taped.
Audio?
But wait, are we not being?
I have no video. I just have audio.
So we are being recorded, correct?
Yes.
But does
Oh,
that
so we
mean,
can-
yes.
but
we can
hold it,
continue?
Audio is being recorded.
but does that,
Shall we proceed?
can I
Shall
ask
we
one
proceed?
question, John? Does that mean people can hear us on Zoom,
Correct.
but just not see us on Zoom?
Correct.
Exactly.
So we're still public,
Yeah.
yeah, cool,
Correct.
well, John, but I didn't know, man, I'm just learning here, come on.
Right, so we can,
All right, so just for the audience who might be looking at this recording at home, we are having audio difficulties, but we're going to continue with the meeting.
video.
Video difficulties. Okay, so
Isn't that
item
what I
number
said?
10.
It's a-
So item 10 is Ben Averill, confirmation as the Department Director of Planning and Development. Ben began with us while Galen was still here at the end of July, and we are very pleased to have him with our new team. And he comes to us with years of experience in planning, as well as most recently helping with housing law at the state level.
Ooh.
Good
Ben?
evening. How can I pass up on that? Like, how can I go farther than the introduction that Lori just had?
That's perfect, Ben. Where were you, again, remind people where you came from most
Certainly.
recently.
So as Lori mentioned, I'm Ben Averill. I'm very excited to be here. It was great to be able to have some overlap with Galen. I feel like was incredibly useful to be able to kind of see where things were and hear from his experiences where the town has gone. And I'm glad to be here. This is week 3. I, as Lori had mentioned, just most recently left a job with the state where I was working on housing and land use policy. And then before that, I've had experience working for the city of Bath as their planning director and the town of Wiscasset before that as their town planner as well. Perfect. But I'm very glad to be here. Happy to answer questions if you have any questions about me, or if you have 3 questions about policy, I will do my best to answer those.
It was more like a Mighty Python thing, like
I
what's
will
your favorite
gladly do
color?
that.
Yeah, exactly.
So just, Ben is working now on with the GPC committee. We're working through the historical guidelines that we had talked about.
Yeah.
And we had several discussions between the board and the GPC, so he's
Yeah.
knee deep in that. Helping, has given the team, the committee some good guidance already, and we're looking forward to getting that back to you guys.
And he has done his first planning board meeting.
We
Correct.
did a planning board last week.
Yeah.
That was good.
That was a pretty easy one for you to deal with. You did a very good job.
All right,
So
Then I would like
do
to.
we have to make a
do we-
motion? I will make a motion to, what am I doing? To appoint Ben, to confirm Ben Averill as our
Director of
Director of
and
Planning and Community Development.
Development.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Okay.
Welcome. Ben.
welcome officially.
Hey.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you coming and being part of our team.
Now, chief.
Now, chief.
He got 2 of them. No, 3 of them.
All right, we're back. Video's back. Good evening. So on July 16th, we went out to bid for one new Ford Police Explorer Interceptor. The bids were due on July 29th. We only had 2 responsive bidders, Roe Ford and Arundel Ford. Roe Ford provided a bid of $46,448. Arundel Ford provided a bid of $44,134.
The total amount of capital funds that we had budgeted for FY '27 was $75,000, and this is to both purchase a vehicle and provide the upfit, the equipment that needs to go in the vehicle. Based on pricing and local access to the dealer, I'm recommending awarding the purchase to Arundel Ford in the amount of $44,134.
I'd make a motion to award the cruiser bid to Arundel Ford for $44,134.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm really glad to see that we're doing business with local people.
Yes, very good. Yep. Any more discussion? All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you. So I believe the next item was the flooring bid for both the police department and the public health side. So we did seek out pricing for the flooring from 3 different companies: Ben's Flooring, Seacoast Flooring, and Sanford Flooring. Out of the 3, we had 2 responsive bidders. At the time, I had to complete the memo. Those are Seacoast Flooring and Sanford Flooring. Ben's Flooring did return a price to us after I'd already put the memo together. It's unclear at this point how much work is going to need to be done after they start stripping the floor. There could be damage to the underlayment, and we don't know exactly what that's going to be. Based on previous experience that we've worked with Sanford Flooring, and the fact that we don't know exactly how much work needs to be done, I would recommend going with Sanford Flooring for the bid between $24,988 to $33,326. The other 2 companies did not bid an option to replace some of that underlayment, and I am confident that some of that is going to have to be done.
I thought Sanford Flooring was 26,492.12.
Oh, I'm sorry. I erred in the lower part of my memo there. But just to put in perspective, Ben's Flooring, who didn't have their quote in on time, when they eventually did return one, it was $32,200, and that did not include any underlayment. So that just kind of puts into perspective those 3 quotes, and I do feel like the value that we'd be getting from Sanford Flooring is probably the best.
So they're gonna, at that price, they're gonna go ahead and put all new plywood down, or
Well, only if it's
Only what they needed.
No, only what they need
what they
to.
need to?
Yes, only what they need to. So it could be if every square foot there had to be replaced, the underlayment, the price would be $33,326.68.
Okay.
And again, we won't know what that looks like till they start stripping it.
All right, I'll take a motion.
I'd like to move that we accept the bid from Sanford Flooring for an amount of $26,492 to ranging up to $33,326 for the replacement of the flooring in the police department.
Do we need to put the 68 cents in there?
68 cents. I'll pay it if it goes to.
Yeah, second.
Okay, first and second, I need more discussion. All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
You got one more, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So also for FY '27, $97,000 in capital was budgeted to purchase a key card entry and security camera systems for the police station.
This is good.
So I did obtain pricing through 3 different vendors that are somewhat local to us. We looked at, it was hard to get everything as close to apples as we could make it, because they do use, or at least one of the vendors does use different cameras, and a different key card entry system. So we had to have some discussion to kind of bring this as close as we could to make this apples to apples comparison. So Pine State Fire and Security was $97,072.33. The product was Pro Data Key. The issue or the concern that I have with that is it's a cloud-based system with a minimum of a $1,248 a year subscription. I was looking to have a system that we would own, that we would not have these recurring fees. The two that we were able to get closest together were Griffin Security and Minuteman Security. They both used the Hanwha WizNet Wave, and there are no reoccurring fees with these. So based on that, I'm recommending awarding the bid to Minuteman Security in the amount of $84,695. With that, we also have know that they service Scarborough Police Department, and Scarborough Police Department's been very happy with them.
Perfect.
Cool. Take a motion?
Make a motion to award the police camera and key lock system to Minuteman Security for $84,695.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Great.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the work.
Thank you, Chief.
Appreciate it. All right, item number 14 is Eric is back up and he's going to review the Cape Porpoise Pier change orders.
Yes, so I would like to bring forward some 4 change orders for you folks to review. The first change orders are the rock sockets. They're effectively the excavation that have to happen to make sure that we have stable piles in the bottom. As part of that, there was also was an extension. They needed to go a little bit deeper, so they needed to weld on some piles a little bit taller. So there's some welding costs associated with that as well. That's for $107,000.
That was the north float that needed that then? That
It was
the
actually the
north
south.
That was the south float?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
The
It says North Float.
Yeah, this was the north float.
this is. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, the north float. You're right.
Yeah,
The
this
part
is
of the
the
main
north
pier.
float.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
I was.
It's the lobsterman, the commercial side. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Apologize.
He was imagining himself in Mexico, so that's why he thought it was the south.
All right. Maybe I stand corrected here, but okay, it's okay. Either way, they needed to go a little bit further for stability.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was some.
Okay, so let's
Okay,
keep Eric
yeah.
on track.
Yeah.
No more questions.
No more
Okay.
questions.
Go, Eric.
We added an additional ladder for the left-handed boats. That was requested by the fishermen. There were some left-handed boats there, so when you're under the hoist,
Yeah.
you actually have to be on the proper side of the boat because the other side of the boat is actually sealed.
Yeah.
And so then the pilot is always in front of the traps, so therefore you kind of need the ladder on the other side, so of the hoist.
I appreciate,
Makes a lot of sense.
I appreciate us taking care of left-handed
You
people.
betcha. No, I'm really glad we did that. That
There's
just,
5 left-handed boats in the harbor.
yeah.
Out of how many?
The,
How many, we have one left-handed board member?
Left-handed vote? Okay, keep going.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna ask a question. I'll talk
to you
All
later.
right, we got item 4.
Yeah,
Three.
item 4 is additional concrete for the sidewalk. If you have been down there, you'll notice there's quite an extensive amount of wall there. It's almost like a wave wall, the way the sidewalk kind of comes around there. There was some additional yardage that was necessary for there, about 6 cubic yards. So that's a unit price item. That was part of that. And that's for $12,000. And the last is change order number 14, which vinyl curtains were not designed into the bait shed, and for efficiency purposes, we needed to put 3 vinyl curtains like you would walk into a freezer. They're just
Oh, that's
plastic
good.
curtains, and install those as well. That was $2,000, and for the total of $128,500.
And it still leaves a balance in our reserve.
Yeah, so we have 344,000 roughly.
I did not bring the accounting of that.
I
Yep,
put it
we
in your
have it in our
memo.
notes.
It's in the memo.
We
I
see
put
it.
it in
Oh,
your
you put it in the
memo.
memo? Thank you.
Yep.
Great. Well,
Are
So,
we almost done?
so the 2 biggest items right now are, from my perspective, one, to get this certificate of occupancy, I have to seal all the fire. Anything that goes through a fire rated wall needs to be sealed. It's actually a
Okay.
special company that comes in here. They're taking care of that. They're gonna come in. and they'll
Okay, so
caulk
they're gonna seal it.
collars on that. So there's that, and the fuel system is the second big item that we have outstanding. The fuel systems right now, they were on site on the 12th, and they shall be there by the end of the 17th, the week of the 17th, which is next week. They expect the fuel system to be up and running.
I'm wondering if,
Yes, we're done.
okay.
so I see that they fixed the south end of the wall where the fuel tanks are.
Yeah,
That looks so much better.
okay.
It's just unbelievable.
So they put the revetment on, you mean?
They did a great job doing
Yeah,
it.
okay. Yeah, I asked them to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, part of the wall blew up. Part of what happened is when they were replacing the tank, the wall actually blew up.
Eric, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for keeping an eye
Okay.
on all this and helping us.
Do we need a vote on
So we
this?
need a vote.
So I move that we accept the change orders, number 11 through 14 for Cape Porpoise Pier.
Second.
And just a reminder again that we still have a remaining balance left.
And the total, and I should have mentioned the total value of 128,500.
And do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any more discussion? All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Eric. All right, item number 14. Lori, do you want to talk us through this?
Yes, so as you know, the town did not vote to move forward with the town hall project, new project. And so in the FY27 budget, we requested capital funding to do renovations at the current town hall. There had been some longstanding maintenance issues with the HVAC system and the roofing, et cetera, that need to be addressed. But also we would like to renovate the last bay of the fire station to provide office space. So I had a meeting with Owens McCullough from Sebago Technics, who had handled the town hall project, and David Graham, who is a local architect. And we both agreed that the project is much smaller and didn't require the services of Sebago Technics. And since David was the one who did the original space study and design, and he served on the town hall building committee, he's well versed in the process that we've been through. And he has given us a proposal to take on this project, and brought in as well the necessary engineering to move forward. And so we do have funding left in our design budget. And I am asking the board to authorize the contract so that we can begin that process.
So I will make a motion to award the design contract to David Graham for $31,500.
Second.
Any discussion from the board? Seeing none, take a vote. All in favor? Thank you. Yep, this will be good to get this going.
You bet.
Thank you, Lori, for getting that all organized and to us. All right, item 16 is the appointment of Jeannie Regan as the alternate to the planning board with a term expiring June 30th, 2029. Staff has reviewed and recommended approval. Jeannie had sent the board an email that she wouldn't be able to attend. She's on vacation out of town. But I think we all looked over the information. So is there any discussion?
Just
or
a
Dave?
quick question. Did she originally ask to be on the growth planning committee?
There was not an opening at the GPC,
So
and
she-
she told Galen that she would serve on the planning board.
On the
I'll make a-
planning board though, as an
It's
an
an
alternate,
yeah.
we potentially are gonna, do we have space for an alternate?
I believe there is space for one alternate.
Although there actually may be a need to make the alternate a permanent.
True.
Okay.
Okay, so I move that we appoint Jeannie Regan to the planning board as an alternate with an expiration of 6/30/29.
Second.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Great, thank you. All right, item 17 is a request to waive the building permit fee from the Seashore Trolley Museum. So the Trolley Museum is beginning their new Riverside Car House project, and we're requesting the select board to waive the building permit fee. Hi, we have someone here.
Yes.
Ah,
Good evening. Oh my gosh. My name is Katie Orlando. I'm the Executive Director of the Seashore Trolley Museum. And yes, we are requesting the Select Board consider waiving a building permit fee, as you did for us in 2022 with our two projects back then, which were the new model railroad building and South Boston Car House. So would you like me just to give a brief summary, or do you feel like you have all the information in front of you that you need?
I think we've got it, and I would like to say in recognition of the partnership that the town has had with the Trolley Car Museum, and it's been very important. What you do for us with our buses is critically important, and it's a tremendous asset to the town. I would wholeheartedly support this.
Thank you.
I love that little model railroad thing.
We love it
I was there
too.
a couple of
And
months
now we're
ago.
open year round, so
I would
even
just
better.
add that you were at the planning board.
Yes.
Just the last meeting, and it's a fascinating project.
Thank you.
It makes perfect sense for what you're trying to do, and I think you do service to the town. And,
Thanks.
So
don't
I'd
have a
just like
problem.
to say that my grandniece and grandnephew are frequent flyers of the Trolley Museum. And every time they're in town, they actually have their, what do you have, a pass for the season
Yep.
pass?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so they're started on their season pass.
That's
So,
great.
So I will take
I'll make
a motion.
To waive the building permit fee for the Seashore Trolley Museum.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was the most fun all night.
All right, item 18 is the approval of the full year 26 carry forwards.
Surprise. So in your packets, we have a list of the fiscal year 26 carry forwards that all the departments have put together. The town ended with a unexpended budget balance of around 946,000. For the departments, their total, they're requesting $209,675 in carry forwards. So the planning and development is around 31,402. The police is around 91,107. Fire is 12,303, and health and welfare is 6,601. And then in addition to that, and public works, we have 68,262. And in addition to the department request, we are asking 135,000 from the select board contingency account. And that year ended with a balance of approximately 135,000. And for additional employee wage adjustments that we may need to do in the future for this upcoming year, and costs associated with the planned renovations at the town hall. So with both of those combined, we're asking for $344,675 in carry forwards, which would leave unexpended around $601,000 from the budget. Any questions?
Nope, I think that makes perfect sense.
I'll make a motion to approve the carry forwards in the amount totaling $344,675.
Second.
Any discussion, any questions, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Joe?
Oh, yeah, sure, me too, totally. Peter is on board then.
Everybody's there. Thank you. We can do that item 18. All right, we have, item 19 is the discussion of the Memorial Eagle statue restoration project. A while back, Susan Graham had brought this forward. And then there's gone out since then and looked at a budget for it that would equate to, I don't know,
$2,400.
$2,400.
How much?
$2,400. So I think we had a past discussion that we would acknowledge this, and then we put it into our budget discussion. So this is just,
So I have a question.
go ahead.
on this. This is just talking about the Eagle, but what about the plaques that's on there? monument.
No, it does the plaque too.
It does.
Yes, it does
Okay.
the plaque as well.
Okay.
Uh-huh,
So 2,400 does the eagle and the plaque.
correct. That's how I read it. I think that's true.
Susan's here. we
Is
can
that
ask-
true?
Susan, that's,
Did we get the
it does
You wanna
both
come
the
up,
eagle
Susan?
and the plaque, but yeah.
It says the bronze sculpture and plaques
Okay,
And
Yeah,
the
good.
plaques.
will
can
be
do
washed with
everything.
Orvis.
I'm pretty
Okay.
sure.
So $2,400?
Yeah.
And I apologize. It looks like I stepped in here and I didn't mean to. And I appreciate that Lori brought this to you now. He's indicated that he'd like to work on it on site. He can do it without removing it, but he doesn't want to get into it when the flowers aren't bloom. So that's one of the reasons to bring it now, so that he could plan maybe late in the fall when there's a lull between before prelude, probably before it gets too cold. So I appreciate your considering this.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
So yeah, we just would need to coordinate with the
Garden
garden-
Club, the
garden
Garden
club.
Club. Yeah.
So the question is, do we put this, and we just put this into the normal budget process? Because otherwise we're gonna,
for next year.
for next year. We just
And then we delay
throw
it a
it,
year.
If you did do that, as a practical matter, you'd have to wait for the June
You would,
budget. And then
It would be another
he
year.
wouldn't get in until, which is all fine. And I have offered to try to raise public, private money, but I went to the source that paid for this 25 years ago, and the foundation is being discontinued.
Yeah.
So
When was it last done, Susan?
it was done in 21 or 2001 or
So
2002.
almost 25 years ago.
25 years ago. He also indicated he should be getting in there every 4 to 5 years to look at it, because he can do a simpler job on it if it doesn't get too advanced, if the verdigris is so bad
But
right now.
is he going to get in there and find out it's damaged now, or has he looked at it and said this ought to?
He's relying on the photographs that I sent him. He hasn't been down, but he's been here before because he did it 25 years ago.
Last
So,
time.
Could we have him come down and take a look at it and confirm that price?
you could.
No, I mean, well.
If you want me to, I'll contact
him
him and ask.
So, I mean, I don't have a problem. I think it should be done, right? And I think it should probably be on a regular basis moving forward, but
Yeah.
I don't have a problem paying. It's small amount of money. We could probably privately raise it. We could publicly do it. I'd rather get it done rather than put it off for another year and a half before we even talk.
I agree.
Yeah,
I'd like
I'd
to see it
support
done.
that too.
I
What,
would.
is there a source of money? How would we do this?
We just get some.
Contingency fund.
yeah,
So-
so I'll be the vote that votes no, because I just don't want to create another avenue. I'm a budget process person. And I don't, because then where do you draw the line? Right, so that, I'm a no vote for this one. I want to put it into the budget process. It's a great idea. It's to bring it forward. We've got the contact, but that's where I fall on
Well,
this.
the precedent is.
You set a precedent,
you've
and
set
then
a
who do you
precedent.
say no to?
Well, whoever you want to say no to.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's why you get a vote.
So, I mean, is
I mean-
Susan, could you?
I know, I'm
gonna
just
ask, Could
explaining
you
why
reach
I
out to
don't
this gentleman, and find out if he could maybe come down and take a look at it, just to confirm what he really thinks the price would be, and maybe come back? Because we obviously would have to coordinate any of this with the garden club comes first, so.
Just so I'm clear about the reason for him to look at it would be to make sure that the bid is firm or
Yeah.
that he doesn't need to.
Yeah, I mean, if he could just, because you said what, $2,400, whatever, right?
And just as an example, 25 years ago, the cost was $4,000. So
Yeah.
it's not as though he's increased his prices terribly, but that involved him disassembling it, removing the plaques and the eagle, driving it to his studio in Georgetown where he did the work in his studio. This is just, he believes he can come here, do it, and, you know.
Well, to
less
vote
work.
on it, wouldn't the
I don't-
board
I don't-
want a statement of work?
I wouldn't vote on it right now. I would just
Right.
say, I would ask,
But
put it back on Susan.
wouldn't you want a statement of work to eventually vote on it?
Well, I think there is a statement of work here. Well, I guess it's not really, he's just given the cost estimate. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right.
I would not vote on it tonight. I would say, put it back out if you could, and then bring it back to us.
Have him come and see it. Is that what you're saying? I can
And
check.
give us a full scope of services and budget. What do you think it's gonna cost to do it?
So if you can give me a decision.
Well, I think we need to see that first.
Okay, so you want to know if he's firm on the estimate?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. Item 20. All right, so we have accept donations to the Fireman Park Fund. We've received a large array of donations totaling $2,450. I will take a motion to accept these with gratitude.
Gratefully make a motion to accept the donations to amount of $2,450
With gratitude.
with gratitude.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Thank you to the donors.
Gratefully with gratitude.
Item 21 is to accept a donation from the Health Council of a birdhouse in memory of Allison Kennebunkport. The Health Council has donated a birdhouse to place next to the planting of the Judy Barrett, I believe it's a lilac tree. I will take a motion to accept with
Make a
gratitude.
motion to accept all, excuse me, all funds with gratitude. Also, it's really a nice thing that they did this.
So I will second that.
All in favor? Thank you. Thank you for doing this. Okay, time for other business. Joe,
Negative.
or should we call you Peter?
Negative on the
Nothing,
Peter.
nothing here.
Roger out. I'm Roger.
Nothing here, thank you.
I'm all set.
I would just like to thank the police department and the town clerk's office for and the rest of the town employees who did a marvelous job at the
National Night
National
Out.
Night
National
Out.
Night Out. That was great fun.
John, who manned the compost booth.
Yeah.
I think it was a great community event.
Composting, I was composting.
You were composting. And, but really a shout out to the town staff who was flipping burgers and keeping
Absolutely.
everyone happy.
Very good. Thank
That's
you. I
great.
have a few things. One is what I mentioned before is for public awareness, the Growth Planning Committee is working on definitions of a historical area for our town. So if you're interested, please tune into those meetings. They're listed on the town calendar. The second item is for the board. I sent you all some pictures of Jeffrey's Way, which is one of the roads down at the Goose Rocks Beach. It goes into our main thoroughway to get our safety gear into the beach for water rescue, or one of them. So the request is to change the traffic regulation. I sent you a picture of the traffic sign. It prohibits right now loading or unloading of commercial trucks and vehicles. And the proposal here is to change that to prohibit loading or unloading, basically ending it there. So it wouldn't just be for commercial, it'll be for all. And the problem here is we have one handicap parking spot that's at that west side of the road there on Jeffrey's Way, in between two houses that sit on the left side of the road, on the west side of the road. And so what we have is, and it's really upticked this year for some reason. We have a lot of people that are coming down with their beach gear. They put their cars there and then load, drag stuff down to the beach, get back in the car. But they have to back out of that road. And so you have a whole bunch of bikes that end up parking there, little kids on bikes, grown-ups on bikes, the main walkway in and out of the beach. And then you can have 1, 2, 3, or 4 cars that are lined up, loading or unloading. And then you have vehicles backing out into the intersection of New Bedford Road, Kings Highway, and Jeffries Way. So it's come to the attention of Goose Rocks Beach Association. It's come to the attention of a lot of the residents that live down in that area. And just looking at the sign and talking with Lori and getting some guidance from her, you know, it could be if we went and changed this regulation, we would have to have a public hearing if we agree to this. And we would list it and hopefully have this public hearing session on the first meeting in September, if you all agree.
It's fine with me.
I fully support it.
That's fine.
Yeah, Chris was drafting some language. He and I talked about it back and forth today. And he has forwarded it to Amy, so we haven't reviewed it with her yet, but we'll forward you the language that we're suggesting.
So do we have to take a vote or we just do that when the language
I
comes?
think you have to take a vote to set a public hearing for this traffic regulation amendment for September 10th.
I would move that we set a public meeting for the traffic to address traffic regulations for Jeffries Way at our next board meeting, September 10th.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, everyone in favor? Thank you.
Now, don't you want to mention sharks?
Oh, Mattawan.
I do have a third item. So there is a pickleball tournament that's being played at Bounce. Bounce in Biddeford
Biddeford.
is supporting it. And this is for CHEMS. This is for the CHEMS raising of capital funds for the ambulance.
Yep.
It's August 22nd.
22nd.
Please go on to the CHEMS website. And if you are a pickleball person or you have a pickleball team, this is your event.
And if you are a tennis person, you can also contribute on the site to support CHEMS in the spirit of the much superior game of pickleball.
You gonna play pickleball?
No, I don't play that
She's
inferior
just the
game.
advertiser. And what's going on Wednesday nights, Alan?
What's going on Wednesday?
On
night?
Wednesday-
Oh, softball. Always softball on Wednesday nights
Okay,
at 6
moving
o'clock.
on to Lori.
I have one more thing. I just also would like to acknowledge Kai Leffler and all that she has done for the town on the budget board. And she's a huge advocate of our public works department. Kai will, after many years of living in Kennebunkport, is moving away, going back to Kentucky next week. So I would just like to publicly acknowledge Kai Leffler and everything she has done for the town of Kennebunkport.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you did that.
Also a recipient,
Thank you, Pat. Yeah, I didn't realize she was leaving.
Spirit of America recipient also from the town.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
acknowledge her service.
Kai definitely has given a lot to our town. We're grateful for it.
I have nothing.
Nothing.
Hey, you're at the table. You have anything? All right. We have, I'll take a
Warrant.
motion for the warrant.
Second, first, yeah.
And first, and I will take a second.
I am tired.
Okay, David,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor? Okay.
John.